is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
I've been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of maximum city is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
We are able to maintain the democratic fabric and the democratic system.
I want to do something that can make a difference.
लगातार जनता की आवाज को सरकार तक पहुंचाने का काम मैं करता हूं.
I was a student up until very recently. I really want to work and
It's a Thursday morning. You are watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Parmeshwar Baba. We've got a whole lot lined up for you from across the country and around the world. Let's begin with the headlines we're tracking currently. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis and BJP Chief JP Nadda met Union Home Minister Amit Shah at his residence late last evening. The meeting came amid speculation over the allocation of portfolios after the Mahayuti government took office last week following a thumping victory in the assembly polls. The top court outlines an 8-point formula for divorce and alimony. The Supreme Court says the focus should be on the social and economic status of the husband and wife and keep in mind the qualification and employment of both parties. The family of Bengaluru techie Atul Subhash, who died by suicide, has filed an FIR against 4 people, his wife, her family members, and a judge accusing them of harassment, extortion and corruption. Mr. Subhash's brother tells NDTV he was harassed and tortured. Rajasthan's Borewell tragedy, a 5-year-old boy who fell in the borewell and was trapped for 3 days has died. The minor was trapped for more than 50 hours. A Bangladesh court has rejected the bail plea of Chinmoy Krishnadas, a Hindu priest and spokesperson of the Bangladesh Sanatan Jagran Jyoth, also associated with ISKCON, who has been arrested and jailed by the local authorities on charges of sedition. Well, our big focus, Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis and BJP Chief JP Nadda met Union Home Minister Amit Shah at his residence late last evening. This meeting came amid speculation over the allocation of portfolios after the Mahayuti government took office last week following their thumping victory in the assembly polls. But one second, Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde was not present at this meeting with Amit Shah. The office has said and our sources have confirmed. According to our sources, a discussion over portfolio allocations with the top BJP brass was likely during Mr. Fadnavis's Delhi touchdown. But a senior BJP leader meanwhile has told PTI that the cabinet expansion may take place very soon, perhaps in another 2 days on the 14th of December. In fact, someone from the BJP has also said that the Shiv Sena may not get the Home Department and was also unlikely to be allocated the revenue portfolio, but we are of course waiting for confirmations on the same. In other crucial news that we're tracking, the Supreme Court has laid down an 8-point formula for deciding alimony amount amid the ongoing debate surrounding the suicide of Bengaluru-based techie Atul Subhash, who had alleged harassment by his wife and in-laws. Now, the Supreme Court has categorically said that the focus should be on the social and economic status of both the husband and the wife, and one should keep in mind the qualification and the employment status of both parties. My colleague Ashish breaks down the details for you.
Justice Vikramnath and Justice P.V. Borewell bench has given this judgment, and it is clearly said that when any court of this country, whether it is a trial court, whether it is high court, if they are giving any type of divorce and giving a declaration of dissolution of marriage, so it should they should concern eight type formula for this, in which there is some detail given by this court. By its judgment, says the court should determine the status of the parties. Parties means husband, wife also, and social and financial status also. Also, reasonable need of the wife and the dependent children also. These husband and wife means parties. Individual qualification and employment status, also independent income and asset owned by the applicant.
Okay.
Also, the financial capacity of husband, his income, maintenance, obligations and liabilities also should be considered by this court while giving a dissolution marriage judgment also. And Supreme Court said this is not the straight jacket formula, but also act as a guideline while deciding permanent alimony on this. Court also noted that permanent alimony amount should be decided in such a manner that should not be penalize the husband, but ensure a decent standard of living for the wife.
And heart-rending scenes as the parents of the Bengaluru techie who died by suicide arrived at the Patna airport. The Bengaluru police are investigating the matter after Atul Subhash's suicide, alleging harassment by his estranged wife and in-laws. As we have been reporting, an FIR was filed against 4 people in connection with his suicide, and the police also went to the woman's home in Jaunpur in order to question the family. But Atul Subhash recorded this 80-minute video that's playing on the left side of your screens, in which he accused his estranged wife and her family of slapping multiple cases on him and his family to extort money from them. In fact, he also criticized the justice system in his 24-page suicide note. Here are the key details.
A day after Atul Subhash, an IT engineer working on artificial intelligence, committed suicide in Bengaluru. His parents plead for justice. In a suicide note, Atul spoke of harassment and extortion from his wife, her uncle, and his brother-in-law. His family and friends are still in shock.
मेरा बच्चा को टॉर्चर किया, हम लोग को भी टॉर्चर किया, पर मेरा बच्चा अपने ऊपर सब लेके अपना मेरा बच्चा सब बर्दाश्त किया, हम लोग को भी नहीं सहने दिया, अपना कष्ट अपने झेलता रहा अंदर ही अंदर।
मार्च के महीना में वो गया था, मार्च के महीना के बाद जब आया ना तो कहा कि पापा वहाँ का जो मीडिएशन का जो जज है, चाहे जो भी लोग है, वकील है, चाहे जज है, जो भी है, वो वहाँ के कानून व्यवस्था जो लॉ है अपने भारत का, उस लॉ से नहीं चलता है, लोग उस लॉ को मानता ही नहीं है। जो ये बता रहा था कि इस धारा में ये लॉ होना चाहिए, तो वो उसको हाई कोर्ट के, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के लॉ को भी नहीं मानता था। उनको तो 40 बार बेंगलोर, कम से कम 40 बार गया होगा बेंगलोर से जौनपुर।
He was a very lively person. And he used to mingle with everyone. He's like a go-in person. So he was very calm and cool and composed person.
The Bengaluru police have filed an FIR against Atul's wife and her family, and a team is in Jaunpur to question them.
The early morning committed a suicide. Regarding this issue, his brother has given a complaint in Marthali police station, stating that there were multiple cases running on him in Uttar Pradesh. The family members of his wife and their relatives demanded money for settling these issues. So they harassed him.
Ironically, it was only yesterday that the Supreme Court said that the anti-dowry law was being used to harass husbands.
Let's not look at 498 in isolation. What happens when a matrimonial issue erupts is, and this is really based on legal advice, that there is a bouquet of litigation that begins. Now, all these litigations create a situation where a person is put to multiple legislations, and often these are used as a ploy to ensure that the opposite party comes under pressure to resolve the matter at the earliest.
I think we have to take some very serious action, and we must amend 498A. My view is we should make it bailable. We should make it compoundable, number two, and there should be a mandatory preliminary inquiry before the FIR is registered. And of course, there should be a provision of taking action against the person who's filing the false case.
Politicians across party lines have spoken up about the need for amendments.
Very unfortunate incident. The intention of the parliament, while bringing many of these legislations to protect women, especially from dowry harassment and such domestic abuse matters, though was lofty, though was laudable, has also been minefields for misuse.
We respect the judiciary of this country. Now the case is under investigation. So police में कार्रवाई चल रही है. अगर law में भी amendments चाहिए तो उसके ऊपर भी discussion होना चाहिए.
It is a very serious matter. It is a suicidal case. The state government has taken it very serious, and thorough, serious investigation has to be done. And the judiciary has to take it on its own course, because of these are a lot of cases are before the honorable courts. So this is take one example of this case, and who are the culprits? They have to be investigated and they have to be punished.
As his last wish, Atul has said his ashes should not be immersed until those who tortured him and his family are punished. Atul also raised questions on the police and the justice system. As the country debates on the need for an amendment to the anti-dowry law, a family has lost its talented young son.
इतना टॉर्चर हुआ मेरा बच्चा कि टूट गया एकदम अंदर से.
With Nihal Kidwai, Bureau Report, NDTV.
Well, switching tracks to unfortunate news coming in from Rajasthan. A rescue operation that went on for 57 hours amid plummeting temperatures ended in vain after a 5-year-old boy was pulled out of a Borewell in Rajasthan's Dausa but died. Aryan fell into the 150 feet deep Borewell while playing in a field around 3 p.m. on Monday, and the rescue operation began an hour later. As we have been covering, JCBs, drilling machines and a piling rig were deployed to dig a parallel tunnel to rescue this 5-year-old child, while oxygen was also supplied through a pipe and CCTV cameras monitored his condition. But unfortunately, the 5-year-old boy has lost his life. In other news, a high-speed unknown vehicle hit a Fortuner and Kia car going on the Eastern Peripheral Expressway passing through Dadri police station. This is in the area of Greater Noida. The collision was so intense that both the cars actually fell off the expressway. After crashing these two cars, though, the unknown vehicle fled from the spot. Police did reach the spot and admitted 5 people in the accident to the hospital for treatment, and the police officials are currently investigating the matter. Dramatic visuals coming in from the Eastern Peripheral Expressway regarding this tragic accident. In another road accident, 2 cars collided near Sector 33 in Noida. Sector 24 police officials have reached the spot and are currently investigating the matter. Well, let's turn our attention now to the winter session of Parliament. A massive face-off between the opposition and the government over the no-confidence motion moved by the opposition parties against Rajya Sabha Chairman and Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar. The opposition has alleged partisan functioning of the House under Mr. Dhankar's stewardship. In fact, Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge said the opposition was forced to table the no-confidence motion because Jagdeep Dhankar is the biggest disruptor of the upper house, stressing there is no personal fight against the Rajya Sabha chairman, but accused him of working like the government spokesperson. We have a string of reactions lined up for you. Listen in.
The biggest disruptor in Rajya Sabha is the chairman himself. सदन अगर डिसरप्ट होता है तो उसका सबसे बड़ा कारण हमारे चेयरमैन साहब है।
भारतीय लोकतंत्र में 72 साल बाद एक ऐसा किसान का बेटा उपराष्ट्रपति के पद में पहुंच करके इस देश को सेवा करने का काम किया है। इस राज्यसभा सदन का सभापति के रूप में पूरा देश देख रहा है किस तरीके से उपराष्ट्रपति महोदय ने इस सदन का गरिमा को रखा है।
जो भी प्रोवोकेशन करें इनको हम करने देंगे, बट हम हाउस को रन कराएंगे और हमारी पूरी कोशिश होगी कि हम किसी ना किसी तरह हम हाउस को रन करें। हम चाहते हैं कि डिबेट हो, डिस्कशन हो। 13 तारीख को कमिटमेंट था कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पे डिबेट होगा। हम चाहते हैं कि वो डिबेट हो और हम हाउस को रन करने देंगे।
जाति के बात करने वाले एक साधारण किसान परिवार से आया हुआ किसान का बेटा जगदीप धनखड़ जी के विरोध में अविश्वास प्रस्ताव लेकर आना, ये किसका असम्मान है? केवल जाट समुदाय का किस प्रकार से असम्मान करना है, इस भाव के साथ पहली बार राज्यसभा के पटल पर कोई पार्टी राज्यसभा के सभापति के खिलाफ इस प्रकार की नोटिस लाने की हिमाकत कर रही है।
Both for the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Congress Party, House is adjourned every day. House will continue only on the choice of the Congress and BJP. If Congress thinks that today House will continue, the House will continue. If the Congress thinks half an hour House will continue, the half an hour House will continue. If BJP thinks that half an hour House will continue, the House will continue. This is not proper.
I do not want to be the part of this blaming game. But the fact remains that the BJP, when they were in opposition, don't forget that 2G, 3G scam. And that was hypothetically, it was revealed that it was a hypothetical one. And during that period, they did not allow to function the parliament for the entire session. That entire session was of 1 month. So all 4 weeks the parliament did not work.
मैं समझती हूँ सदन को चलना चाहिए क्योंकि जो पूरा जो ये लोकसभा सत्र जो है विंटर सेशन है, तो मैं समझती हूँ कि हमें पूरी उम्मीद है कि दोनों पक्ष के लोग इसको चलाने में पूरी निष्ठता दिखाएंगे और हम चाहते हैं समाजवादी पार्टी की सदन चले।
As always, news and updates continue right here on NDTV. We're slipping into a very short break for now.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis and BJP Chief JP Nadda met Amit Shah at his residence late last evening. The meeting came amid speculation over the allocation of portfolios after the Mahayuti government took office last week. The top court outlines an 8-point formula for divorce and alimony. The Supreme Court says the focus should be on social and economic status of both the husband and the wife, and one should keep in mind the qualification and employment status of both parties. Bengaluru techie's suicide shocks the nation. The brother tells NDTV he was harassed and tortured. Rajasthan's Borewell tragedy. A 5-year-old boy has lost his life after being trapped in a 150 feet deep borewell for over 55 hours.
And it's right there, bound rewards, मैं everywhere, कहीं से भी करूँ collect, spend करूँ direct.
Download any single ID partner app, link your card and earn reward with top rank.
Get it free with single ID.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your lives.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
To the state of governance, Delhi.
NDTV brings to you the best breakfast show. The breakfast show only on NDTV 24/7 every morning at 8 a.m.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number one in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
I've been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in
Welcome back. The higher reaches of Kashmir received fresh snowfall even as the minimum temperature increased across the valley. But Gulmarg, Sonamarg and Gurez sector received fresh snowfall, and just take a look at those visuals coming in. This is as intermittent snowfall continued in the other areas in the higher reaches of the valley. Srinagar, by the way, recorded a minimum temperature of -3 degrees Celsius earlier this week, and as our colleague Nazir Masoodi has been reporting, in certain areas the minimum temperature even dipped to -5 degrees Celsius as of yesterday. In other news, FIFA has officially confirmed that Morocco will be part of the historic 2030 World Cup co-hosting arrangement alongside Spain and Portugal. But Saudi Arabia will be hosting the mega football event. This marks a significant moment for Moroccan football, though, as the country joined two European giants in what will be a groundbreaking six-nation collaboration. The announcement was made during an online meeting that was hosted by the FIFA president. The decision has seen Saudi Arabia confirmed as the host of the 2034 World Cup after their bid was acclaimed by the federations.
The football body FIFA has officially announced that Saudi Arabia will be hosting the FIFA World Cup 2034, while 2030 World Cup will be co-hosted by six nations including Uruguay, Argentina and Paraguay, Morocco, Spain and Portugal. And as far as the 2034 bidding, Saudi Arabia will become the second Middle Eastern nation to host the tournament after Qatar, which was held in 2022. And if you see that 48 teams will be participating in the 2034 edition of FIFA World Cup, while the matches will be held in around 15 stadiums, including Riyadh, Jeddah, Al Khobar, Aba and Neom. It is also expected that Riyadh's King Salman Stadium with 92,000 spectators capacity is expected to host the venue. Is the first match, the opening match and the final match will be hosted in Riyadh's King Salman Stadium.
And ahead of the 100th birth anniversary of legendary actor, filmmaker Raj Kapoor on the 14th of December, the Kapoor family members travelled to New Delhi to extend an invitation to Prime Minister Modi. In fact, to celebrate legendary Raj Kapoor's 100th anniversary, PVR Inox Limited and the Film Heritage Foundation will organise the RK Film Festival. And this is going to span across 101 cinemas across 34 cities from the 13th to the 15th of December. And the festival will be one of the most extensive retrospectives ever dedicated to Raj Kapoor cinema.
पिछले हफ्ते जो हमारी व्हाट्सएप फैमिली ग्रुप है, हमें एक हफ्ते से सिर्फ ये डिसाइड करें कि हम कैसे आपको कहेंगे प्राइम मिनिस्टर जी, प्रधानमंत्री जी। रीमा बुआ मेरे को रोज फोन करके पूछ रही है क्या मैं ये बोल सकती हूँ, क्या मैं ये वो बोल सकती हूँ।
मैं भी आपका परिवार का हूँ भाई।
आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी।
कट। आजकल हमारे यहाँ डिप्लोमेटिक वर्ल्ड में सॉफ्ट पावर इसकी बहुत चर्चा होती है। जिस जमाने में सॉफ्ट पावर शब्द का जन्म नहीं हुआ होगा, राज कपूर साहब ने दुनिया में भारत के सॉफ्ट पावर की ताकत को एस्टैब्लिश कर दिया था। एक बहुत बड़ी भारत को उनकी सेवा थी।
हाल ही में आप आई थिंक अफ्रीका गए थे और वहाँ भी मैंने एक क्लिप देखा था, आप एक जवान के साथ खड़े थे और वो उस टाइम मेरा गाना गा रहे थे समझा, पर मैंने वो क्लिप देखा था और काफ़ी लोगों ने मुझे भेजा था, सब लोग बहुत खुश हो गए। और उसी के साथ एक क्वेश्चन था आपके लिए, क्या आप गाने सुन पाते?
मैं सुन पाता हूँ क्योंकि मुझे अच्छा लगता है, कभी मौका मिल जाए तो मैं जरूर सुन लेता हूँ।
थैंक यू फॉर ओपनिंग योर डोर्स और हम सबसे मिलने के लिए इतने एक्सेसिबल होने के लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
मैं आपके पिताजी को मिला हूँ और मैं सोच रहा था कि आज मुझे 3 पीढ़ी को मिलने का मौका मिलेगा, लेकिन आप लाए नहीं तीसरी पीढ़ी को।
Let's turn our attention now to a quick tech update. Xiaomi India has introduced 6 new products at an event in New Delhi, including mid-range smartphones, personal audio devices, and also a power bank. Ishan joins us now to share some insights into the recently launched Redmi Note 14 lineup from Xiaomi.
Xiaomi India has introduced 6 new products at an event in New Delhi, including mid-range smartphones, personal audio devices, and a power bank. The Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G leads the lineup with Xiaomi's largest ever 6200 mAh battery, 90 watt hypercharge, and a flagship 50 megapixel light fusion camera with Super OIS. इसका कर्व्ड 120Hz AMOLED डिस्प्ले Gorilla Glass Victus 2 से प्रोटेक्टेड है और ये IP68 सर्टिफाइड है ड्यूरेबिलिटी के लिए। It is priced effectively at ₹29,999. Redmi Note 14 Pro 5G 50 megapixel Sony LYT600 sensor, 5500 mAh बैटरी और 45 watt फास्ट चार्जिंग के साथ आता है। It is available in a stylish dual-tone vegan leather finish as well. It effectively costs ₹23,999. Redmi Note 14 5G सीरीज का अफोर्डेबल ऑप्शन है जो 50 मेगापिक्सल सोनी कैमरा, 120Hz AMOLED डिस्प्ले और 5110 mAh बैटरी के साथ 45 watt फास्ट चार्जिंग ऑफर करता है। The smartphone is effectively priced at ₹17,999 effectively. In the audio category, the Xiaomi outdoor speaker is designed for adventures. ये 30 watt dual subwoofer audio, IP67 durability और Bluetooth 5.4 के साथ आता है and has support for syncing up to 100 speakers. It is priced at ₹3,999. Redmi Buds 6 एक dual driver system के साथ आता है with 49 dB hybrid active noise cancellation. They offer up to 42 hours of battery life and support dual device pairing. They are priced at ₹2,999. Lastly, the brand teased their ultra slim power bank that has a capacity of 4900 mAh. ये power bank crowdfunding के through ₹1799 में available है. That's it for today. Keep following NDTV for more such news.
are able to maintain the democratic fabric and the democratic system.
I want to do something that can make a difference.
लगातार जनता की आवाज को सरकार तक पहुंचाने का काम मैं करता हूं.
I was a student up until very recently. I really want to work and do something for my people because they have given me this opportunity. They have elected me.
सोचा नहीं था कि राज्यसभा सांसद बनूंगी.
हमारा संविधान भारत की महान परंपरा, अखंड धारा, उस धारा की आधुनिक अभिव्यक्ति है.
Finally, the opposition and government to square off over the constitution in parliament.
पूरे देश में एक ही संविधान चले.
वो कहते हैं कि लाल रंग का संविधान राहुल गांधी दिखाता है.
Parliament all set for a fiery constitution debate.
बाबा साहब आम्बेडकर का संविधान भारत का संविधान.
इसके अंदर जो लिखा है उसकी हम रक्षा करते हैं, उसके लिए हम जान देने को तैयार हैं.
Constitution in crisis or scare for vote bank? What will prevail? Watch NDTV special coverage.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your lives.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of governance, Delhi,
NDTV brings to you the best breakfast show. The breakfast show only on NDTV 24/7 every morning at 8 a.m.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility, according to the prestigious Reuters Institute.
You are watching the World 24/7 on the NDTV network. I'm Parmeshwar Bava. Let's begin with the headlines we're tracking currently. Foreign powers are jockeying to shape post-war Syria as various factions seek to fill the power vacuum left by Bashar al-Assad's overthrow. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Jordan and Turkey this week to push Washington's vision for an inclusive Syrian-led transition. OPEC cut its 2024 global oil demand growth forecast for a fifth straight month and by the largest amount yet. A series of downgrades that highlights China's sputtering role as the world's demand growth engine. A suicide bombing in the Afghan capital Kabul has killed the Taliban refugee minister. The explosion struck inside the ministry. Farmers from across the United Kingdom have brought their tractors to Westminster to protest the government's planned changes to inheritance tax for agricultural businesses. Elon Musk, whose wealth has been turbocharged since President-elect Donald Trump's win last month, has become the first person to reach $400 billion in net worth, the latest milestone for the world's richest individual. FIFA has officially announced Saudi Arabia as the host nation for the 2034 Men's Football World Cup. Saudi Arabia will become the second nation from the Middle East to host the mega football event. Well, our big focus, foreign powers are jockeying to shape post-war Syria as various factions seek to fill the power vacuum that's been left by Bashar al-Assad's overthrow. In fact, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Jordan and Turkey this week to push Washington's vision for what they call an inclusive Syrian-led transition. Meanwhile, Turkey moved to weaken Kurdish forces and expand their own influence in the country. Israel carried out nearly 500 airstrikes on Syria in 2 days and made ground incursions, prompting criticism from France and Germany. They said it would provide millions in humanitarian aid. But experts argue that each actor in Syria is scrambling to redraw the map, raising fears that the fall of the Assad regime will merely shepherd in another period of conflict. My colleague Trent Murray reports from the Israel-Syria border. Listen in.
Well, we are here at the Israel-Syria border, and as you can probably see behind me here, this is now an active military zone. That is, after the IDF was instructed by the Israeli government to move tanks, troops and artillery into the demilitarized zone, which has separated Israel and Syria since all the way back in 1974. That vast area there you can see behind me is looking into Syria. In the past, UN has been in there overseeing this DMZ, but they have now, for all intents and purposes, been relieved of duty, given that the IDF is pouring resources in to seize control of that DMZ. Now, the Israeli government says that they are doing this because they are concerned about their security, given the events of what has happened in Syria in recent days. Assad's troops were at one point up in that area guarding the other side of the demilitarized zone. But when his regime fell, well, those troops abandoned their post. And it was at that point that the Israelis decided to move in. It's also not just on the ground that we are monitoring. Up in the sky, the constant buzz of drones and even fighter jets. The Israelis have confirmed they have launched over 300 airstrikes across Syria in recent days. They are targeting the remnants of Assad's military, hitting army bases, Air Force bases, naval ports and weapons storage areas. Again, the justification of this is that they are concerned that extremists could get their hands on those weapons left behind by the former military and could pose a risk to the state of Israel. But the decision by the Israeli government is also attracting criticism. Regional players here, including Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Egypt, all expressing concern that what is happening behind me is Israel effectively taking advantage of the power vacuum in Syria right now, taking advantage of that to try and seize this territory permanently for themselves. Trent Murray for NDTV at the Israel-Syria border.
But Syria has got a new regime which has multiple challenges lying ahead of them, from avoiding sanctions to internal security and threats from their neighbors. But will the new regime be able to overcome these challenges, or will it meet the same fate as Libya and Iraq? My colleague Mohammed Ghazali had a chat with Idris Ahmed. Listen in.
How do you see these entire development where many theories are floating that the HTS chief, Al-Golani, and he has got other names as well being quoted by the media, that he is backed by Israel because Israel is still occupying the land beyond Golan Heights, and yet there has been no response from the new regime. Do you buy this argument that he's being backed by US and Israel? Just to dispel that rumor?
No, because I think that there's also kind of a completely, there's a lot of historical amnesia that is involved in that, because when the US intervened in Syria in 2014, it's worth remembering that the US did not intervene to support the opposition. Even when there was a chemical attack, even when the US had drawn a red line, it didn't enforce it. In 2013, Assad used chemical weapons and it got away with it. The US didn't intervene, but it did intervene as part of its so-called war on terror in August 2014 in Iraq, and then in Syria later on, a month later. And when it intervened, so it jointly bombed not just ISIS, but also the anti-Assad rebels, especially the forerunner to HTS, which was the Jabhat al-Nusra. So it was extensively bombed. In fact, one of the very tragic incidents in 2017 had happened when the US bombed a mosque in Aleppo and killed like several hundred people because it assumed that this was a gathering. It claimed that this was in fact, its initial claim was that this was a gathering of Jabhat al-Nusra, and later on turned out that it was just people who had gathered for the evening prayers. So the thing is that Jabhat al-Nusra for all these years has been extensively bombed. Israel obviously is never going to trust them, because the thing is that all of them are very supportive of the Palestinian cause. And but what Israel is doing right now is, in fact, it's going to do everything to undermine them, because that's one of the things, that they are putting them in a position that they either will have to confront Israel or to shrink from it. And if they shrink from it, that's completely then diminishes their, even right now, what's going to happen is that as they are seizing territory, so Jabhat al-Nusra is certainly not in a position to pick up a fight with a regional superpower which is completely backed by the US and which, it has been completely backed by Germany.
I'll just interrupt you there. You said that right now they're not in a position to retaliate. Doesn't mean that they don't want to, or they're just focusing on reconstruction of the country right now? Do you suggest
Well,
that?
it's more like because I think that they have a sense of which battles to pick right now, because it has been 13 years that they have finally managed to. What they have done is that they have finally managed to overthrow this very brutal entrenched regime for 53 years. So right now they just don't have that capacity. I mean, they cannot go up against. So I doubt that anybody in HTS, I mean, generally, among if you see the opinion among Syrians, so everybody has seen what Israel did in Gaza. That was very much what Assad was doing to them. So nobody has any sympathy for that. So what's going to happen is that these people, they have a very good sense of, in fact, also there's a lot of fraternal relations between people. In fact, right now, one of the things that happened was when Sadnaya was released, so a large number of Palestinians were released there from the Qassam brigade. So there were people from Hamas who were actually being held by the Syrian regime. So which is kind of that's why these theories become ironic, because Assad was because he laid siege to the Yarmouk refugee camp for 5 years and inflicted the same thing that Israel is inflicting on Gazans. So there's no love for Israel, and certainly nobody is an instrument of Israel in this situation. In fact, if they had the capacity, they would have confronted Israel, but they don't.
Let's turn our attention now to the neighborhood. A Bangladesh court has rejected the bail plea of Chinmoy Krishnadas, a Hindu priest who has been arrested and jailed by the local authorities on charges of sedition. Local media reported that Chittagong Metropolitan Sessions Judge Muhammad Saiful Islam, who is on vacation, passed the order citing that the plea was rejected because Mr. Das did not have a lawyer's letter of attorney on his behalf. The petition, which will be heard on the 2nd of January next year, now states that Das, a monk who is suffering from various diseases, including diabetes and respiratory problems, has been arrested in a false and fabricated case. And with that, let's get you an update from Afghanistan now. Afghan Taliban's acting minister for refugees, Khalil Rahman Haqqani, has been killed in a blast in the country's capital, Kabul, his nephew has confirmed. But Khalil Haqqani became a minister in the Taliban's interim government after foreign forces withdrew from Afghanistan back in 2021. He was a senior leader of the Haqqani network, which is a militant faction blamed for major attacks during the 20-year war. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has defended President Biden's decision to withdraw from Afghanistan while appearing before the Republican-led House Foreign Affairs Committee, which has long sought to question him over the deadly evacuation. Blinken declined to take the blame for decisions that were made leading up to the exit, explaining that actions were actually taken by the first Trump administration. It left the Biden administration in a weak position, and intelligence assessments expected Kabul to remain in the hands of the Afghan government. But Blinken's testimony came nearly 3 months after the committee voted along party lines to recommend that the nation's top diplomat be held in contempt of Congress amid a standoff over his appearance before the panel to discuss its investigation into the 2021 withdrawal. Well, in other crucial news, OPEC cut oil demand growth forecast for this year and next for a 5th straight month, making its deepest reduction to the 2024 outlook so far after agreeing to extend its supply curves. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries chopped projections for consumption growth in 2024 by 210,000 barrels a day to 1.6 million barrels a day, according to its monthly report. Now, the cartel has slashed projections by about 27% since July, as it belatedly recognizes the deteriorating market picture. And by the way, last week, the OPEC Plus alliance, led by Saudi Arabia and Russia, they agreed for a third time to delay plans to restart halted crude production, while also slowing the pace of increases once they do begin next year. But for more clarity on the matter, we have with us Peter Maguire joining us live from Sydney at the moment. Thanks so much, Peter, for making time for us on NDTV. What would you say the weaker outlook highlights? And do you believe China is expected to remain the main driver of global oil demand?
Well, good morning. I think a couple of things. Yes, I'll answer the first one. As far as consumption, China, they're really, I think all guns are blazing to try and get internal demand up across the whole fabric of the nation, and commodity consumption, I think, will increase, and naturally you would expect that to include oil, so, and all forms of energy. So I think that that's the first part, and electricity consumption, so everything burning of fossil fuels. And where we're sitting at the moment, there just seems to be a little bit of a disconnect as far as global consumption and where does price take us. And I think the whole initiatives with geopolitical concerns and all of that wrapped around are going to be a fascinating next couple of weeks as far as price discovery.
Well, forecast meanwhile, Peter, on the strength of demand growth in 2024 very widely. Is this partly due to differences over demand from China and the pace of the world switch to cleaner fuels?
I think so. I think that, and this is the dislocation in the sense what OPEC's looking at. You've got the International Energy Agency, you've got the EIA. So everyone seems to have a different broomstick as far as how much growth you're going to see or contraction as far as across the landscape of global demand. We're still producing and still consuming around about 103 million barrels a day. But is it going to, we see a pullback as far as that global consumption, or does it actually, ramp up from here? And this is the great dilemma that I think every agency has, and what they're looking at as far as the big drivers being the likes of China and certainly India and across, very much the landscape of Asia.
Right. Also, OPEC's outlook remains towards the top of industry estimates and actually contrasts with the International Energy Agency's far lower view. Any reasons why you think that's happening?
Yes, I think it comes to a point in time that, different viewing agencies or different interpretations as far as market contraction or market growth. They look at economic drivers, they look at GDP, they look at just consumption patterns, and they also take on board geopolitical concerns and price, all of these metrics that go into coming up with a forecast. And that's what you're doing. You're forecasting where growth is going to be or contraction. And that probably are some of the drivers that you look at. When you look at, like a consultancy agency, you ask for an appreciation of what's going on with price, and it's not unusual to see a divergence. And that's very much the part and parcel of how it is at the moment.
Meanwhile, you mentioned geopolitical tensions. Well, they have also kept oil's risk premium in play as traders actually await the formation of a new government in Syria after Bashar al-Assad has been ousted. Any challenges you see in the immediate future there?
I think so. I think it'll be interesting again how that is piecemealed together. Who's going to be in power? What's it going to look like as far as the fabric across Syria? And do you see other nations start to become more agitated, and I'm probably referring more to Iran, and that could be, I think, the powder keg that could change from a geopolitical standpoint, and price you could see an escalation in price if you were to see some sort of tension build. One needs to be considerate that oil prices are down nearly 17% since early July. So it's been and gasoline prices are back at 2021 levels in the United States. So prices are very trim at the moment, and it's not unusual to see tensions build, and that could well and truly be the stand out here.
Well, Peter, thanks so much for joining us with this update. Do stay on with us for the next update as well. The US government is actually weighing new harsher sanctions against Russia's lucrative oil trade, seeking to tighten the squeeze on the Kremlin's war machine just weeks before Donald Trump returns to the White House in January. But as per reports, details of the possible new measures were still being worked out, but Joe Biden's team was considering these restrictions that might target some Russian oil exports, according to people who've decided to speak on record. Peter's with us for a quick comment at the moment. Peter, this step now is something that Biden had long resisted over fears it could trigger a spike in energy costs. But with these reports emerging, would you argue that the United States is now open to more aggressive action against Russia?
I think so. We've got to be appreciative as far as you're about 40 days out from the Trump administration from the inauguration on the 20th of January. So what happens over the next 6 weeks could be crucial, and President Biden is driving the engine at the moment. He's the captain. So yes, I wouldn't be surprised to see some form of sanctions coming into place. It could be aggressive. You've also got to look at the likes of Hungary, and where does Turkey look at all this as far as Russia energy and Russian gas. So the effect is going to, I think, create, again, a turbulence in the market, and how that's going to, work across the energy complex is going to be very fascinating leading into Christmas.
Well, indeed, we will be keeping a close eye on all the developments. Thanks so much, Peter Maguire, as always, for joining us on NDTV World. The US is mulling new oil sanctions against Russia in order to weaken Putin and the war mechanism there. There are harsher sanctions that are being planned against Russia's lucrative oil trade. The US is seeking to tighten the squeeze as far as Kremlin's war machine is concerned. But as far as the details, the finer mechanism, that is still being worked out by Biden's administration just 40 days ahead of Trump returning to the White House. In other news, a United States intelligence assessment has concluded that Russia may use its new lethal experimental Oreshnik missile against Ukraine again in the coming days. This is what AP is reporting, citing a US official aware of the development. The missile is seen by US officials more as an attempt at intimidation than a game changer on the battlefield in Ukraine, according to the US official that's been cited in AP's report. In other news, India and the United Arab Emirates will carry out a comprehensive review of our strategic ties today as External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will host his counterpart from the Gulf nation, Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, for wide-ranging talks. Mr. Al Nahyan, also the Deputy Prime Minister of UAE, is paying a 3-day visit to India to explore ways to further expand ties between our two countries. This is actually in a range of key areas, including trade as well as investment. And let's bring you an update from the United Kingdom now, where hundreds of tractors block streets in central London. The latest protest by farmers against the government after it ended an exemption from inheritance tax for agricultural families. The measure, dubbed the tractor tax by critics, was introduced by the government in the UK to boost funds to pay for strained public services. But farmers say it will destroy family farms and also reduce food production as far as the UK is concerned. Farmers in the UK say their income has been squeezed over years by Britain's competitive supermarket sector, cheap imports from abroad, and also subsidy cuts followed by Brexit. As always, news and updates continue right here on NDTV 24/7. We're slipping into a very short break for now. Don't go anywhere.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
We are able to maintain the democratic fabric and the democratic system.
I want to do something that can make a difference.
लगातार जनता की आवाज को सरकार तक पहुंचाने का काम मैं करता हूं.
I was a student up until very recently. I really want to work and do something for my people because they have given me this opportunity. They have elected me.
सोचा नहीं था कि राज्यसभा सांसद बनूंगी.
हमारा संविधान भारत की महान परंपरा, अखंड धारा, उस धारा की आधुनिक अभिव्यक्ति है.
Finally, the opposition and government to square off over the constitution in parliament.
पूरे देश में एक ही संविधान चले।
वो कहते हैं कि लाल रंग का संविधान राहुल गांधी दिखाता है।
Parliament all set for a fiery constitution debate.
बाबा साहब आम्बेडकर का संविधान भारत का संविधान।
इसके अंदर जो लिखा है उसकी हम रक्षा करते हैं, उसके लिए हम जान देने को तैयार हैं।
Constitution in crisis or scare for vote bank? What will prevail? Watch NDTV special coverage.
New day, new show, a new experience. Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your lives. News that informs and keeps you ahead.
from maximum city, Mumbai,
to the seat of governance, Delhi. NDTV brings to you the best breakfast show. The breakfast show only on NDTV 24/7 every morning at 8 a.m.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility, according to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024.
Well, Tesla and SpaceX boss Elon Musk's net worth has surpassed $400 billion, according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index, setting a new milestone for the world's richest person. The jump in wealth, the business news outlet reported, came after SpaceX and its investors agreed to purchase as much as $1.25 billion of insider shares in a transaction that valued the rocket and satellite company at about $350 billion. Now, Musk, you must note, has added about $218 billion to his net worth since the start of 2024. That's more than any other member of the group. Tesla shares, which make up the bulk of Musk's fortune, have gained 71% this year and closed on Wednesday at $424.77, which is their first record high since the year 2021. As far as expectations are concerned, expectations that Trump will streamline the rollout of self-driving cars and eliminate tax credits for electric vehicles that help the company's competitors has helped buoy Tesla's stock. Musk, by the way, is also slated to occupy a key role in the new administration with Donald Trump as co-head of the newly created Department of Government Efficiency, as we have reported. Now, while it will work outside the government, it does give him a bit of a strong stand as far as Washington is concerned, and also a direct line to the Oval Office. In staying with updates from the US, Luigi Mangione, the suspect in last week's killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in broad daylight in broad daylight in New York City, faced an extradition hearing on murder charges, and Mangione was denied bail but contested extradition to New York. Pennsylvania now has 30 days to get a warrant from the governor for extradition, but Luigi was remanded to State Correctional Institution in Huntington, and authorities have said the extradition process to New York could now take as many as a month, so 30 days. But the 26-year-old Ivy League graduate from a prominent Maryland real estate family is fighting attempts to extradite him to New York so that he can face a murder charge in the Manhattan killing of Brian Thompson, who led the United States' largest medical insurance company. And finally, Saudi Arabia was officially confirmed by FIFA as host of the 2034 World Cup in men's soccer, giving the oil-rich kingdom its biggest prize yet for massive spending on global sports, driven by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The Saudi bid was the only candidate and was acclaimed by the applause of more than 200 FIFA member federations, and they took part remotely in an online meeting hosted in Zurich by the soccer body's president. But this decision was combined with approving the only candidate to host the 2030 World Cup. Spain, Portugal and Morocco will co-host in a 6-nation project in 104 games soon. As always, thank you so much for investing your time and watching this edition of The World 24/7. We'll keep tracking the latest updates for you. Do stay tuned.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
I've been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of maximum city is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
We are able to maintain the democratic fabric and the democratic system.
I want to do something that can make a difference.
लगातार जनता की आवाज को सरकार तक पहुंचाने का काम मैं करता हूं.
I was a student up until very recently. I really want to work and do something for my people because they have given me this opportunity. They have elected me.
सोचा नहीं था कि राज्यसभा सांसद बनूंगी.
हमारा संविधान
भारत की महान परंपरा, अखंड धारा, उस धारा की आधुनिक अभिव्यक्ति है.
Finally, the opposition and government to square off over the constitution in parliament.
पूरे देश में एक ही संविधान चलेगा.
वो कहते हैं कि लाल रंग का संविधान राहुल गांधी दिखाता है.
Parliament all set for a fiery constitution debate.
बाबा साहब आम्बेडकर का संविधान भारत का संविधान.
इसके अंदर जो लिखा है उसकी हम रक्षा करते हैं, उसके लिए हम जान देने को तैयार हैं.
Constitution in crisis or scare for vote bank.
Hello everyone, a very good morning. Welcome to Breakfast Show. I'm Radhika Ramaswamy joining you from Mumbai studios. We also have Divya joining us from Delhi. Divya, Maharashtra portfolio suspense continues. Supreme Court to take up some important pleas on the contentious Places of Worship Act and a discussion on what ails India's Anti-Laundering Act. All this and more coming up on the show.
That's right, and the suspense, of course, like you mentioned, as far as portfolio distribution in Maharashtra is concerned, and of course, what's really ailing the Anti-Laundering Act as far as India is concerned? Why is there such a low conviction rate? In the last 5 years, only 5% of the PMLA cases have gone to trial and been convicted. Trial is, as far as trial cases are concerned, there are many cases, almost 28%, that haven't even made it to that trial date, in fact. So we'll cover all that and a lot more. First, let's get you the headlines. And the portfolio discussion and that challenge that's being faced by the BJP and Devendra Fadnavis. Devendra Fadnavis is here in the national capital, as is in fact Ajit Pawar as well. But Eknath Shinde has skipped that very crucial meeting that's going to be coming up at Amit Shah's residence today here in the national capital.
And the Apex Court outlines 8-point formula for divorce and alimony. Supreme Court says focus on social and economic status of husband and wife and keep in mind the qualification and employment of both parties.
The family of the Bengaluru techie Atul Subhash, 34-year-old who died by suicide, has filed now. The family has gone ahead and filed an FIR against 4 people, and it's the brother of the deceased who has gone on to say that he was harassed and tortured.
Poor conviction rate in money laundering cases, just 5% conviction rate. What is ailing Anti-Laundering Act in India? We'll find out on our special discussion.
And in that Rajasthan Borewell tragedy, the 5-year-old boy who fell into the Borewell has died. The minor was trapped for 55 hours.
And the Apex Court all set to hear Places of Worship Act. It is a contentious act and multiple pleas have been filed in connection to it.
And in Bangladesh, the court has rejected the Hindu priest's bail plea. This is to remember the Hindu priest who was taken into custody. His bail plea has now been rejected.
On to some news from Maharashtra. Of course, Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis is in the national capital, Divya, where he did meet several senior leaders, including Amit Shah. And this amid reports that cabinet expansion of Maharashtra government is likely to take place by December 14. Divya, there have been a lot of discussions, deliberations going on, and no consensus reached on who is going to get what, despite this mammoth landslide victory that Mahayuti achieved.
Absolutely. So, at that meeting, that very crucial meeting that's going to be coming up at Amit Shah's residence today, while Ajit Pawar is going to be there at that meeting, it's Eknath Shinde who's decided to stay back in Mumbai, and the tussle over the key portfolios is continuing within Mahayuti. Who gets what ministry is the battle, and that's the challenge that's being faced by the BJP and Mr. Fadnavis, particularly after it emerged earlier that each of his allies, they have been demanding plum positions in exchange for their support that they have given to Devendra Fadnavis, Radhika.
Absolutely. Eknath Shinde, of course, playing hardball. Like, he's been negotiating hard, Divya. What will he get in return of surrendering the Chief Minister's chair? That remains to be seen. BJP unlikely to give up home portfolios, what we are hearing. Sena may be offered urban development, public works. NCP perhaps may get finance, as they were in charge of finance portfolio in the last term as well.
Right. So specifically, they want the finance portfolio held previously by in fact, Ajit Pawar to be returned. But an overall framework for the allocation of portfolios has reached what we are hearing and understanding is that the BJP getting 22 and Sena around 12 and the NCP around 9. But the big question is who really gets what, and that is going to be decided in that meeting. However, we won't know till about the 14th of December. And of course, that suspense that continues. And to get more on this, we have Ishika joining us from Praful Patel's residence here in the national capital. Ishika, tell us what time is this meeting, this crucial meeting that's coming up later in the day at Amit Shah's residence, and what message is the absence of Eknath Shinde really putting out?
Well, certainly, it is a very crucial day for Maharashtra politics here in the national capital. We are reporting from Praful Patel's residence, where, in fact, Ajit Pawar has come here. He's staying here, and he is, in fact, going to meet, Home Minister Amit Shah today. And today, certainly, as you pointed out, Divya, today is a very crucial day, since it is, a very important meeting is going to be held with Amit Shah, with Devendra Fadnavis and Ajit Pawar, and all of this, to provide a solution to this delay in the discussion and deliberation over ministerial berths. Now, as in fact, as Radhika also rightly pointed out, we have seen that there are 2-3 ministries that, in fact, where consensus have not been reached as to which party will get, which ministry here. So, today's meeting becomes very, very important, because will it provide a solution to this delay? That certainly remains to be seen. But certainly, Eknath Shinde skipping this crucial meeting, how is that going to be impact? We'll get to know, after that meeting starts. So what we are getting to know is that, today, later in the day, this meeting is going to be held at, at Amit Shah's residence. We are expecting that, Ajit Pawar will be leaving from here, and Devendra Fadnavis will also be reaching there to meet, Amit Shah. Remember, last night, we did see that Devendra Fadnavis, along with JP Nadda, had already met with, in fact, Amit Shah. So certainly, what kind of resolution will be provided, and will, in fact, will there be, a final decision to end this delay or not? That is the bigger question. Over to you.
That's right, Ishika. Resolution not happening at this point. Of course, no consensus being reached. But very interestingly, of course, Ajit Pawar will be part of the meeting. Devendra Fadnavis will be part of the meeting of Amit Shah, but no sign of Eknath Shinde. So what does that tell about the present government? So all that we'll wait and watch out for. We'll keep coming back to you. But let's move on. Heart-rending scenes as parents of Bengaluru techie who died by suicide arrived at the Patna airport. Divya, Bengaluru police, of course, investigating this matter after Atul Subhash's suicide, alleging harassment by his estranged wife and in-laws.
Right, the family has gone ahead and filed an FIR of 4 people. So that FIR is against 4 people in connection with that suicide of that 34-year-old techie. The police also warned they'd gone to the woman's house in Jaunpur to question the family. They've recorded, you do remember that the techie had recorded that really long 80-minute video in which he accused his estranged wife and her family of slapping multiple cases on him and his family to extort money from them. He also criticized the justice system in his very long suicide note, which was over 20 pages. Let's listen into what the brother had to say, who's spoken about how his brother, the 34-year-old techie, was harassed and tortured by his wife and the family of his wife.
आपने लास्ट कब उनसे बात की? अतुल से आपने लास्ट बात कब की?
सर उसने मंडे मॉर्निंग 2 बजे के आसपास जो है उसने अपनी सुसाइड की थी. तो दैट इज मैं ये कह सकता हूँ कि संडे रात को 2 बजे रात को मेरी जो बात हुई थी वो संडे की ही शाम के 7-8 बजे के करीब बात हुई थी. बहुत अच्छे तरीके से बात हुई थी. मैंने कुछ अपने पर्सनल फोटो अपने फैमिली ग्रुप में डाले थे, तो उसने उस ग्रुप के उस पे उसने मैसेज भी लिखा था कि अच्छा लग रहा है, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. फिर हमारे फोन कॉल्स पे भी बात हुए थे, उस पे भी बहुत अच्छे तरीके से मेरी बातचीत हुई है उससे. नॉर्मली बात ही हुई है. कुछ ऐसा लग ही नहीं रहा था कि वो ऐसा भी कुछ कर सकता है. उस दिन मेरे फादर के साथ बहुत अच्छा वो मतलब फ्रैंक था बात करने में. पापा से उस दिन उसने 9 बजे से मतलब 9 बजे के करीब उसने बात की है, 1 घंटे बात की है. तो ना फादर मदर मुझे किसी को भी ऐसा फील ही नहीं हुआ, ऐसा एहसास ही नहीं हुआ कि ऐसा भी कुछ कर सकता है या सोच भी सकता है. रात के 2 बजे मेरे पास मैसेज आते हैं कि ऐसा ऐसा उसने कर दिया है, और मेरे पास एक अननोन नंबर से कॉल आता है. वो फिर अननोन नंबर से मुझे पता चलता है कि ऐसा कुछ मैसेज आया है क्या. मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था, मुझे लगा कुछ प्रैंक कॉल होंगे ऐसे. फिर मैंने देखा मैसेज कि मेरे भाई का मैसेज आया हुआ है. मैंने कॉल लगाया बट वो पिक नहीं कर रहा था. तो मुझे ये सारी सिचुएशंस के बारे में पता चले.
ब्राइबरी का आरोप भी है उनका. चिट्ठी, अतुल की चिट्ठी में ब्राइबरी का भी आरोप है. उन्होंने कहा था कि शायद जुडिशरी में जज के लेवल पे कुछ मांग थे, और उन्होंने ये भी कहा कि उनके वाइफ के साइड से, उनके फैमिली के साइड से भी एक ब्राइब मांगने का एक रिक्वेस्ट था कि ये पैसा दे दीजिए और हम इस केस को बंद कर देंगे. इन दोनों आरोपों के बारे में आप क्या कहेंगे?
मुझे लगता है कि जहाँ पे अगर आप देखोगे तो करप्शन की जो बात हम करते हैं, सिस्टम में जो न्याय की हम मांग करते हैं, न्याय आदि जिसके यहाँ हम जा रहे हैं, जो न्याय देने वाला पक्ष है, जो इस न्याय पे हम भरोसा करते हैं कि हमें यहाँ से इंसाफ मिलेगा, अगर वही करप्ट है, अगर दुनिया में इस तरह का करप्शन है इंडिया में, तो मुझे लगता है कि फिर तो कुछ बचा ही नहीं. न्याय के पद पे जो बैठा हुआ इंसान है वो करप्शन के लिए मांग रहा है कि मैं इस केस को सेटल करा दूंगी, तो मुझे 5 लाख रुपए चाहिए, और 5 लाख रुपए देने के बाद जो है वो मैं केस सेटल करा दूंगी. इवन तो उसको प्रोवोक करने के लिए उसकी वाइफ ने जज के सामने ही ये भी बोला कि तुम पैसे नहीं दे सकते तो तुम सुसाइड क्यों नहीं कर लेते. तो जज जो है वो वहां पे बैठ के हंस रही है. क्या ये न्याय करने वाले लोगों का ये तरीका होना चाहिए?
Let's get you the very latest. In a very significant ruling, the Supreme Court has laid down detailed guidelines for determining permanent alimony, emphasizing fairness and financial transparency as far as balancing the needs of a dependent spouse and the obligation of the earning partner. So these are the 8 factors that have been laid down by the Supreme Court, including the status of the parties, the social and financial status, as well as the reasonable needs of the wife and the dependent children, parties' individual qualification and the employment statuses, as well as the independent income or assets that have been owned by the applicant, Radhika.
That's right. Several factors are being laid out by the apex court, including standard of life enjoyed by wife in a matrimonial home, any employment sacrifices made for family responsibilities, reasonable litigation costs for a non-working wife, financial capacity of the husband, his income, maintenance obligations, and liabilities. So court culling out several factors such as reasonable needs of wife and dependent children and many others in order to avoid the misuse of the law. So focus on several of these factors to ensure there is a fairness during a divorce and alimony, Divya.
Absolutely. So this move comes about in order to ensure that there is no misuse when it comes to the laws that have been laid out. Well, in other news, let's just get you the very latest. This is Mahesh Jethmalani, senior lawyer, in an exclusive interview to NDTV, says that a police case should be lodged against Congress leader Sonia Gandhi over her association with a forum that has been funded by Soros.
That's right. That openly supports a secession of J&K from India. The senior lawyer, Mahesh Jethmalani, said the Congress must clarify and that the charges are serious. Let's listen in.
You have put out a tweet which raises several questions on what has been an ongoing controversy of what the BJP says that there is an alleged link between George Soros Foundation and Sonia Gandhi run Forum of Democratic Leaders Asia Pacific. The question is that this organization was formed in 1994. Your government, the first came to power in 2014. So it's been 11 years. What has the government of the day done to ensure that all those organizations which have anti-India agenda do not succeed or do not continue to function here in India?
Well, I don't know if this particular organization, I'll call it Forum for short because it'll take too much time. The Forum, I don't know whether that had any activities in India, right? But it's come to notice now. And as soon as it's come to notice, it's been taken up in Parliament by the party in power. And I'm sure it'll be followed up. I hope they read my tweet and take the necessary action because it's the most serious issue. I don't know whether the government was aware of this particular organization and Sonia Gandhi before, or I'm sure it would have come out a long time back in the public domain at the instance of the government or the party.
So in your tweet, you say that the promotion of secessionism is a grave offense under the UAPA and the NIA must swing into action and lodge an FIR. Again, that's a huge point that is being made by you. Do you think all this cannot remain in the realm of insinuation without any evidence, and that all that is being spoken now, it is on the floor of the House? You had the Parliamentary Affairs Minister speaking about it on the floor of the House. You had Leader of the House, Mr. JP Nadda, speaking about it on the floor of the House. Do you think now the time has come for a proper investigation into these alleged links?
Yes, of course, because this is not just speculation. If you go on the website, you will find that there's a whole chapter on Kashmir, and one of the leading things is the way to solve the problem in South Asia is to secure independence for Jammu and Kashmir. That's the agenda. That's what they're promoting. And Sonia Gandhi is the co-founder of this. It's happening under her very nose. I mean, at least she should come out and say that, I didn't actually read this objectives and platforms and aims and objectives of this organization. But no, we are getting a very conspicuous silence.
Okay, so your question...
And she's been co-president of this for quite some time.
Yes. So you're questioning the silence of the Congress party? Do you think they should make their stand clear? They are saying that this is some kind of fake narrative
why the
run
silence?
by the BJP.
Why just the Congress party? Why just the Congress party? Why not Madam Sonia Gandhi herself? She should make it clear. Her association is established. She's not denying it. I mean, Priyanka Gandhi speaks on her part and dismisses it and saying it's ridiculous. But her name is on the website. The website, these are all undeniable facts. Sonia Gandhi's name is there as co-president. George Soros Foundation has heavily funded this foundation. In fact, it's probably the major patron, right? And thirdly, they have a independent Kashmir agenda. These are all there. which aspect of them are, which aspect requires investigation. An FIR should be lodged immediately.
Let's move on to another important update as far as Places of Worship Act is concerned. A special bench of Supreme Court of India, headed by Chief Justice of India Sanjeev Khanna, will begin hearing a batch of petitions that question the validity of the Places of Worship Special Provisions Act 91, a law that freezes the status of places of worship in the country. Divya.
That's right, Radhika. The challenge has come up in the backdrop of a renewed attempt through motivated litigation by some Hindu organizations as well as devotees to target mosques such as the Gyan Vapi Mosque in Varanasi, the Shahi Idgah Mosque in Mathura and the Shahi Jama Masjid in Sambal, amongst others. And to get more on this, we have our colleague Sunil joining us. Sunil, take us through when is this coming up in court today?
Well, it's listed at 3:30 this afternoon. And this will be an occasion for really all sides, because there are a number of impleaders from Prakash Karad to Manoj Jha to many other people who are trying to implead in this case. We'll have to see what the Chief Justice of India, whether he'll just do housekeeping or actually hear the matter in full and try to see what exactly should be done, the contours, because this, of course, comes in the backdrop of not only these claims, there's also been Ajmer Sharif where there has been a claim. And it is definitely, when this act was envisaged in 1991, it had left out the Ayodhya dispute at that stage to ensure that, there wouldn't be any more new resurrections or new findings that will become and leave it as is where its basis in 1947. That being said, there is definitely now some grounds where the petitioners are trying to say that there is no subject to judicial review in this case, and then more importantly, that it binds them to various formats. So it's in this backdrop, what the government of India, which has yet to file an affidavit or a counter on this entire issue, is critical, important, and still unknown on how what their view is on this entire matter, because at that time it was a different government. Now it's a different government. What is their position is still not known. They haven't filed a counter. We'll have to wait and see whether just housekeeping takes place today or they will really hear the matter in full.
Right. Thank you, Sunil, for joining us with all those details. In fact, validity of Places of Worship Act to be decided by the Apex Court today. Let's move on now. Veteran actor Mohan Babu, who filed a motion petition in the High Court challenging the notice served on him by the police, was granted relief by the court, which had deferred the notice and said that he would not have to appear before the police till December 24.
That's right, Radhika. The court has directed the police to visit Mohan Babu's residence every 2 hours and monitor the situation until the next hearing, like we mentioned, is coming up on the 24th. And the court has also reiterated that the matter was a personal issue and also found that the fault with the journalists and the social media platforms for spreading false information and for intruding into a private issue. The court will take up the matter for hearing, like we mentioned, on the 24th of December. So there's some interim relief when it comes to the veteran actor who, had to, in fact, he has been booked in that case for the assault on the journalist. So there are two cases, and of course this is his son Manju, who has in fact gone ahead and apologized in regard to this particular case. So it is of course Mohan Babu who will have to appear before the High Court and in regard to this case, and that is going to be coming up on the 24th of December.
That's right. So the court will take up the matter for hearing on December 24th. For more on this, let's go straight across to Uma. Uma, take us through the latest as far as this entire dispute between Mohan Babu and his son is concerned. We believe that he has been granted some sort of relief by the court, but take us through the latest.
So the court has said that Mohan Babu can appear, or rather the case has been adjourned till the 24th of December, which means he does not have to appear before the Rajkonda police till the 24th of December, when the hearing will once again start. But both his sons, Manju Vishnu as well as Manju Manoj, have appeared before the police, and Manju Manoj has in fact furnished a bond of 1 lakh rupees and what they call as bound over for 1 month. This is
an attempt to in fact ensure that there is no disruption of peace. So there are three elements here. One is the family dispute itself between the father and the son. Yesterday, Manchu Manoj as well as Manchu Vishnu apologized for the attack on the journalist. An FIR has been booked in this particular case. As our viewers will recall, day before yesterday in the night is when an assault happened on a journalist who was at the residence of Mohan Babu just outside, where Manchu Manoj had forcibly gone inside, and at that time Mohan Babu had come out and he had been caught on camera assaulting a video journalist of one of the Telugu channels here, TV9, and subsequently FIR and protests by the journalist fraternity, after which Mohan Babu's sons, both of them, have apologized and said that their father is not responsible for it and that it was not intentional, and Manchu Vishnu, the elder of the two sons, has blamed Manchu Manoj for having created such a situation. What I must point out is that actor-producer Mohan Babu family is a very prominent one here in the film world. They have several production houses. All three children, including Manchu Manoj, Manchu Vishnu and Manchu Lakshmi, are actors. And actor-producer Mohan Babu has not only production houses but also some educational institutions, and we believe their estimated worth of their assets is about 580 crores. Though Manchu Manoj has said that this is not a dispute about property and that this is about trying to silence him, defame him, and he is trying to only safeguard his self-respect. As of now, they are saying that the son Manchu Manoj, who earlier seemed angry with his father, also said that the father is a godlike figure and that it is his elder brother who has trapped him in this kind of a situation. Back to you.
Right, thank you so much, Uma, for getting us all those details. And switching tracks now in an attempt to link the Aadhaar card with the NRC, the National Register of Citizens. The Assam government has decided that all applications to get the unique identity card will be rejected if the applicant or the family had not applied in NRC.
Absolutely a significant announcement there, Divya. Decision was taken during a cabinet meeting in view of an infiltration attempt by citizens of trouble-hit Bangladesh. If there was no application for the NRC, then the Aadhaar request will be immediately rejected and a report will be submitted to the centre. This is what Assam Chief Minister has said.
Prothom a Aadhaar cardor abedonkhon poar lage lage teo prothome sabo যে ৰাজ্যৰ ৰাষ্ট্ৰীয় নাগৰিকপঞ্জী প্ৰণয়নৰ সময়ত এই ব্যক্তিজনে বা এই পৰিয়ালটোৱে বা তেওঁৰ পিতৃ-মাতৃয়ে আবেদন কৰিছিলে নে নাই। প্ৰথম পৰীক্ষা হ'ব সেইটো। যদি দেখা যায় যে তেওঁ আবেদন কৰাই নাছিলে, তেতিয়াহ'লে তেওঁৰ আধাৰ কাৰ্ডখন ৰাজ্য চৰকাৰে প্ৰত্যাখ্যান কৰি কেন্দ্ৰীয় চৰকাৰলৈকে প্ৰতিবেদন দিব।
Let's go straight across to Ratnadeep on this. Ratnadeep, this is a big announcement that is being made by Assam Chief Minister. He says no Aadhaar card to persons who did not apply for NRC.
That's right. This is a key decision, and the state government views this as a stringent measure in order to control infiltration, illegal infiltration. That's how the Chief Minister has put it. Remember, ever since the situation developed in neighboring Bangladesh, there have been several people who have been arrested on the India-Bangladesh border, particularly in Assam, for illegal infiltration. And illegal infiltration, remember, has been a political bone of contention, political issue in Assam. Now, what Assam has essentially done is that it has tweaked its SOP in terms of verification of Aadhaar application, and therefore anybody who has a permanent residence in Assam and he applies for Aadhaar, then the authorities will check whether he or his family members have applied for the Assam NRC, which was application had opened up in 2015, and in 2019 the authorities had released the list of final NRC NRC in which 19 lakh people are left out. However, remember, Assam NRC is stuck in limbo since centre is yet to notify it. Now, in this case, in the verification process, if someone is found to have not applied for NRC, his application will be rejected and the report will be sent. If he is found to have an application in NRC, then the process will further continue. However, this will not apply for central government employees who are posted in Assam or anyone who is domiciled to any other state but is residing in Assam or working in Assam and had applied for NRC through Assam in his own state. But it will be applicable for everyone who is resident in Assam.
Right. Thank you so much for getting us all those details. And with that, we're slipping into a very short break. On the other side, we'll get you what's really ailing when it comes to India's Anti-Laundering Act. That and a whole lot more. Stay with us.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
Portfolio discussion that's going to be taking place at Amit Shah's residence here in the national capital. Devendra Fadnavis as well as Ajit Pawar are making it for that meeting. But it's Eknath Shinde whose absence is going to be felt during that meeting. He's decided to stay back in Mumbai and skip the very crucial meeting. And in the top court, that is outlining the 8-point formula when it comes to divorce and alimony, focusing on the social and economic status as far as the husband and wife is concerned, keeping in mind the qualification and the employment of both parties in order for the law not to be misused, is what the Supreme Court has gone on to say. The family of the Bengaluru techie Atul Subhash, 34-year-old who died by suicide, the family has now filed an FIR against 4 people, including the wife and her family. The brother has gone on to say that the brother, was tortured and harassed. As far as money laundering cases are concerned in PMLA in the last 5 years, only 4.9% of the cases have reached, have resulted in conviction. What's really ailing the Anti-Laundering Act? That is the big question. New day, new show, a new experience. Start your day with the news, not views. We bring you stories that matter and impact your lives. News that informs and keeps you ahead.
From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of governance, Delhi, NDTV brings to you the best breakfast show. The breakfast show only on NDTV 24/7 every morning at 8 a.m.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number 1 in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
We are able to maintain the democratic fabric and the democratic system
I want to do something that can make a difference.
Welcome back. In a disclosure made in the Parliament, the Finance Ministry has said that the Enforcement Directorate has filed 911 prosecution complaints in different courts from Jan 2019 to October 2024 under PMLA, which is the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. However, what is really worrying is trial is pending in 257 cases, Divya, and conviction has been secured only in 42 cases.
That's right, 42 cases or under 5% cases out of the 911 cases have reached conviction in the PMLA cases, wherein 99 accused have been sentenced. And as you spoke about those 257 cases, which is about 28% of the cases are yet to go to trial. So this abysmal conviction rate has drawn sharp criticism from the opposition, with Congress leaders, particularly Randeep Singh Surjewala, bringing this up, saying that this is nothing but blatant misuse of central agencies by the BJP. And to get more on this, we have Kapil Madan, advocate of the Supreme Court and a political analyst, joining us. We also have Geeta Bhatt, political analyst, with us. Let's go across to Kapil Madan first. Kapil Madan, when we talk about the conviction rate in the last 5 years being under 5%, with 28% of the cases that haven't even gone to trial, what is the reason for such a delay when it comes to, also in August, it was the Supreme Court that had, asked for a more scientific investigation in order to increase the conviction rate when it comes to PMLA cases. What do you think is needed in order to perhaps, speed up the conviction rate?
Yeah, so, if you look at the scheme of the PMLA Act, how PMLA works is that there has to be a schedule offense, which is known as a predicate offense. And thereafter, on that basis, PMLA offense is registered and is investigated. Now we have judgments of the Supreme Court where the Supreme Court has time and again reiterated that, it's a stringent act. Bail is, very, very difficult because at the stage of bail, the accused need to convince the court that, no prima facie offense is made out. And, despite those stringent provisions, the agency does not show that kind of, alertness during the course of the trial. So maybe it's, about lack of resources. Maybe it's about, lack of training, because what we've seen is once the accused is out on bail, then the trial typically goes in cold storage, and it takes, years and years, to reach, in the advanced stages of the trial. So I think, more resources, better training are required. And of course, the agency should be very meticulous in, making cases, in the sense that we have seen in the past where the court has given very striking observation against the agencies to say that agency have registered the case when, there was no prima facie evidence available with the agency that justified the filing of the case. So in those kind of a situation, the agency should be very meticulous in registering the case. Only those cases which have credible basis and evidence should be registered. And it should not be, being a stringent provision, it should not be registered as a matter of course, and where you do not have sufficient evidence and basis which can, take you towards the conviction in those cases.
Let's also go across to Geeta, but thank you, Mr. Madan, for giving us a perspective on that. Just to talk about the politics of things, Geeta, opposition, have been time and again raising concerns over ED's actions, calling it biased and vendetta-driven, that there is no evidence. So in a way, lack of evidence leading to a low conviction, that's what it looks like. Doesn't this abysmal conviction rate, in a sense, vindicate the stand of the opposition?
Well, you see, as far as the PMLA is concerned, you see, when you are convicting a person, and that is the case even if you look at the courts in the country, there also the conviction rate is always something that is being questioned, because, the whole process of giving the justice takes really a very long time. So while there is always a scope to improvise, but the fact remains that since such cases where you are trying to convict someone, there is always a possibility to give an opportunity to the person to just to justify that the accused is to give him a chance or her a chance to come out clean on the case. For example, if I take it as an example of the case of the former minister of the Trinamool Congress, Mr. Partha Chatterjee, who has been convicted in a bribery case during the recruitment which was taken place for the primary teachers in West Bengal. There, the observation of the court is, the prima facie, you are a very corrupt person. Why a bail should be given to you? And he's been there for quite some time. So in such a case, the Supreme Court, the observation of Supreme Court regarding this was that since there are 183 witnesses, who have to be heard in the court, and there are other supplementary, 3 or 4 other supplementary complaints. CBI complaint is also there, that is also. So all this together is something which drags the case for years together. So the politics of it is that the opposition is trying to, put the blame on the government, but it is the whole process that if required, needs to be revised, whether it is in the case of PMLA or whether it is in terms of, the courts in the country, whether it is in the High Court or the Supreme Court or the lower courts.
There are about 106 courts which are dedicated in, dealing with PMLA cases, and yet the conviction rate is so low. And of course, the opposition there bringing up that in the UPA government of 10 years, the cases, there were only 100 odd cases when it came to PMLA, money laundering cases. But here they're saying that the cases are 911, and yet there's so many cases that haven't even gone to trial, and the only number of cases that have actually resulted in a conviction is about 42, which is less than 5%. And given the fact that 99 people have been sentenced in those particular cases over the last 5 years alone. So Kapil Madan, according to you, what kind of changes need to be made to this very draconian kind of system that's in place?
So, you may recall when this PMLA bail twin conditions were being discussed, there was a judgment called Nikesh Tarachan by Justice Rohinton Nariman, which struck down the twin condition. And this government passed a law which revived those conditions. So I think, the law in procedurally should also be fair to the accused and both the sides. We have judgments where the Honorable Supreme Court has time and again, mentioning recording strictures against the department to say wherein the court observed that if you don't have wherewithal to complete the trial in a time-bound manner, then you can't insist that the accused should remain behind bars just because the offense is serious. So I think, I would just reiterate what I said earlier. Agencies should be very meticulous at the time of registration of those cases. Only those cases where the agencies have material information, credible information, evidence, only those cases, should have been registered. Once you have registered those cases, take it to a logical conclusion. What we have seen during the course of these cases is that once the accused is on bail, then the, pace of these matters go very, very slow because agency would name n number of witnesses and, recording their evidence, their cross-examination during the course of the trial takes a lot of time, which basically, end up either you will have, witnesses, evidences not being available during the course of the trial, or, the witnesses may not remember what has happened, or, sometimes the witnesses also turn hostile. So I think the agency should focus on only quality of cases wherein only those cases where you have sufficient information should have been registered.
Right, and Geeta, coming back to you, of course, you're a political analyst, and time and again the Congress party and several within the opposition had been speaking about how there is a political witch hunt as far as misuse of agencies are concerned. But according to you, what systemic reforms could perhaps help enhance conviction rates in many of these cases? How can the agency perhaps improve coordination between, investigation and prosecution teams? Because, most of the times, politically speaking, it is said that there is lack of evidence, it's botched up and so on. So how do you think there can be better coordination, and what systemic reforms could be brought in?
Well, I think, the judiciary system in our country is such that it always believes in giving, full opportunity to the accused, that the person can put forth his case and is able to, give ample opportunity to the individual to put forth the case so that he can justify that, he is not a culprit in whatever case it may be. But if you look in totality to the whole of the judiciary system, there time and again it is, the number of courts which are there in terms of the cases that are being, running in the courts, and then the way the whole administration within the judicial system it works. There are many times when people have said that there are too many holidays in between, because of which, the cases they get pending, and then just like, on a lighter side, like they say, tariq pe tariq. But here I think it is important is that on overall, if we have to talk about, it is not just about ED or, there are special courts, but in totality, if a certain revision has to be required, then it is important that for example, the appointment of judges. There are times when we have seen that in terms of coming to a consensus in terms of the collegium and the government, there are various a number of issues which are related to it. So it is important that when we are talking of improvisation and improvement, then it cannot be done in piecemeal. It is a total overhauling of the way the whole process is run in the country that needs to be addressed here.
Right. Kapil Madan, those charged under PMLA often remain incarcerated for a very long period, given the laws are very stringent, the bail provisions in these cases. Bail is denied until proven innocent. Isn't it time to make that significant change? Because that is what we've been hearing in court lately, is that bail is the norm and jail is the exception.
Yes, in fact, when I was speaking earlier, I mentioned this point. There was a judgment called Nikesh Tarachan, wherein the Supreme Court has held that these provisions, providing strictural, insofar as strict provisions of bail was struck down by the court. But what happened was subsequently a law was passed and those strict provisions were revived once again. But now I think law is taking its own course. Now you have judgment as we had in Manish Sisodia's case, in Arvind Kejriwal's case, wherein the court has noted that if you have no resources to complete the trial in a time-bound manner, that affects Article 21, right to life of the accused who's facing trial, and that also becomes a ground to get bail. So when you pit this, twin condition as contemplated under Section 45 of the PMLA vis-a-vis Article 21 of the Constitution of India, now you have precedents in the case of Manish Sisodia, wherein the court have said that if the trial is taking too long, then accused has a right to get bail, because you can't, keep him in custody and at the same time you don't have material resources to conclude the trial at a significant pace.
What takes, why is it such a long drawn battle when it comes to PMLA cases? What takes them so long in order to reach conviction?
Yes, so in a PMLA case, you will have typically you will see charge sheet will have many thousands of pages, which again procedurally every document needs to be proved in the court. Who has written that document, from where it was seized, who was what is stated in the document needs to be proved by the person who are aware of what was written there. So procedurally, what happens is that, these things takes a lot of time, and the agencies, again, there are several observations where the court has said that the agencies itself does not have resources to conduct the trial in a speedy and a time-bound manner. I will also give one, very important example. In, other countries like US, once the trial begins, the trial, there happens on a day-to-day basis. But again, in terms of judiciary, the workload, the backlog of cases that we have, we hardly see trial taking place on a day-to-day basis once the charges are framed. So I think in matter like this, where you have such stringent provisions for bail, it is incumbent of the prosecution that they should show their bona fide, in the sense that they should be completing the trial in a time-bound manner, and rather they should insist, because the offense is serious, let's have day-to-day trial, so that we reach to the conclusion ASAP. And if the accused is guilty, he will be convicted, and if the case is does not have any merits, he will be acquitted.
Right.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kapil Madan, as well as Geeta Bhatt, for giving us a perspective on this. Certainly, a 5% conviction rate in prevention of money laundering cases is abysmal and worrying. But Supreme Court, as Divya, you pointed out, asking ED to focus on quality prosecution and evidence while citing the low conviction rate. An overhaul is what is required, is what our guests are telling us. Thank you for joining us. And let's move on now. This is winter conditions in the national capital. Divya, winters are here for Delhiites. Steep drop in mercury in national capital. So early December touches 14-year low at 4.9 degrees. So what's the condition there, Divya?
Well, 4.9 degrees, the coldest of the season, was recorded yesterday. That was the lowest in 14 years. And today, the temperature is coming in at 4.5, so it's even colder. And Radhika, I must tell you, this is not normal for Delhi for it to feel this cold as early on as it is in December. In fact, you know, the winter came in very late this time around. November was, in fact, rather warm. And now that winter has finally set in, it's come in with a bang. We're talking about 4.5 degrees Celsius, 5 degrees less than it should be for this point in time as far as the weather is concerned. We have Anushka joining us. Anushka, take us through how freezing it is outside. It was very windy early this morning. And what is the Met Office saying? There is a warning that's been put out, which the Met Office is warning of, that it's only going to get cold over the next 2 days.
Well, certainly, Divya, what we are seeing is a dip in temperature in the national capital. Now, according to the experts, it is because of the western disturbance that can be seen. Also, we saw that snowfall happened in several areas like Himachal and, in fact, Uttarakhand also. And what we are seeing is that the effect it has been causing at the areas, you know, in Delhi NCR as well. What we are seeing is that today IMD has in fact given a yellow alert for cold wave, and also IMD has suggested that the temperature, the minimum temperature in fact will be around somewhere around 4 degrees to 5 degrees, and also the maximum temperature is said to be around 23 degrees. Now, it is early in December. It is quite not usual. Generally, we see that the cold days are in fact measured in the last leg of the December. But what we are all seeing here is that Delhi is experiencing cold days, this early. And in fact, after 14 years, we are seeing that this cold wave days can be seen in the first week of December. Now, what we're also seeing is an improvement in the AQI. Today, the collective AQI of Delhi was measured around 254. Now, this is 20 points more than what it was yesterday. But also what we are seeing is that it is in the poor category. But also this was the cleanest start of a month. If we take in context in the past few months that we have seen where the AQI was constantly, ahead 300 points. What we're also seeing is that the wind speed is around 10 to 18 kilometers per hour. That is also somehow helping in the improvement of AQI. But what we're also seeing is that a dip in temperature can be seen in Delhi NCR, because what we are seeing is that the IMD has also, in fact, given a yellow alert for today and tomorrow. Back to studio.
Right. Thank you so much, Anushka, for joining us with all those details. And let's just also, Anushka spoke about that western disturbance, Radhika, and that's obviously influencing and impacting the higher reaches when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir, which is why a fresh batch of snowfall that has been reported, and that has turned the valley into a winter wonderland. We're talking about temperatures that are dipping, and of course the coldest of the season that has been reported in the last 24 hours alone.
That's right. Visuals there. Locals enjoying fresh snowfall in Bandipura's Gurez Valley. Fresh snow blanketing higher reaches as far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. In fact, Sonmarg in J&K was shrouded in white after receiving heavy snowfall on Wednesday. So let's bring in Nazir, who's joining us from Srinagar. Nazir, give us a sense of how cold and beautiful Srinagar looks now.
Well, Srinagar is cold, but it is not snowing here in the Srinagar, but it has been snowing since yesterday in the higher reach, like you mentioned, Sonmarg, Gulmarg, and Gurez, Bandipur, and even the plains of the North Kashmir. There has been snowfall since last night. It is still snowing in these areas. For example, yesterday, maximum, we are complaining about cold in Delhi, but I'll tell you what was the maximum temperature in Srinagar yesterday. It was 8.8. And the minimum temperature is several degrees below the freezing point in different parts of Jammu and Kashmir. So it is a cold season, but nobody is complaining because it's like normal here in Kashmir. And this is the period when we witness the extreme cold. But people have been actually waiting for the snowfall because there has been a long dry spell in the valley, and there's something called a La Nina effect, which is a climate phenomenon which is likely to affect, which may have some impact on the weather pattern in Kashmir as well. And some are saying it would mean more snowfall, some say more cold, some say no, it would be some varied temperature, but not no indication because it is something condition in the Pacific Ocean which actually impacts the climate and the weather conditions in different regions across the world. So this is going to impact India as well, and here in the hilly areas like Kashmir, where we will be having the impact of La Nina as well, La Nina effect as well. So here right now it is freezing during the below freezing point during it is minimum temperature, and the maximum temperature, as I said, it was 8.8 yesterday. Good news is in several parts of the valley it is snowing since yesterday.
All right, several parts of the valley experiencing snow at this point. It is freezing cold there in Srinagar. We can see that in those visuals and as you stand there, Nazir. But thank you for getting us all those updates. Let's move on. This is in connection to rains in Tamil Nadu. From freezing cold temperatures up north, it's rains in Tamil Nadu. Divya, school holiday announced. In fact, schools in 11 districts are shut due to rains.
Right, holiday has been declared for schools. We're talking about several districts, including Chennai, in view of the heavy rainfall that's expected. Some of the districts where schools will be shut includes Tiruvallur, as well as Kanchipuram and Chengalpattu. These are the districts where schools alone will be shut due to heavy rain, as that warning that has been sounded off. We have our colleague Sam Daniel joining us. Sam, what's the situation like on the ground?
Several parts of Tamil Nadu, including Chennai, have been receiving incessant rainfall, Divya, amid rain forecast for light to moderate and isolated heavy rainfall almost in all districts across Tamil Nadu, particularly in coastal Tamil Nadu, because there is a kind of a low pressure that's getting intensified over the Bay of Bengal, which the Met has forecast could actually intensify the days to come. So there's a light to moderate rainfall and with chances for isolated heavy to very heavy rainfall in all these areas for the next few days. And already many schools and colleges have been given a rain holiday in Chennai and adjoining districts, and in several other districts including Salem, Pudukkottai, also Puducherry, and many other districts. And authorities are not taking any chances, particularly in the context of the recent extremely heavy rainfall in Kadalur, Tiruvannamalai, Viluppuram districts recently. And authorities are also keeping their tab on the water level in water bodies, including the reservoirs there, to make sure in case of any discharge, it ought to be done quite early. But as of now, it's under control, but authorities are not taking any chances to be on the safer side, Divya.
Right, thank you so much, Sam, for joining us with those details. Let's just switch tracks now, and ahead of the 100th birth anniversary of legendary actor and filmmaker Raj Kapoor on the 14th of December, the Kapoor family members were seen here in the national capital at Prime Minister Modi's residence. They were meeting with Prime Minister Modi, and it is Prime Minister Modi who's gone on to say that the centenary celebrations of Raj Kapoor symbolize the saga of the golden journey of the Indian film industry. Radhika.
That's right, a momentous occasion as far as Kapoor family is concerned. Prime Minister Modi saying that this is symbolizing saga of the golden journey of Indian film industry. Of course, he noted that movie Neel Kamal was made in 1947, and also saying its contributions over the years was momentous. Of course, he also remembered about an endearing moment involving filmmaker Raj Kapoor and his iconic films. Of course, recalling how after a loss in Delhi elections, L.K. Advani and Atal Bihari Vajpayee had decided to go watch a movie, and Prime Minister accompanying them to see Raj Kapoor's film, Divya.
Right, that film was Fir Subah Hogi, and of course, let's take a look as to the Kapoor Khandan in total attendance there, inviting the Prime Minister to be part of the 100th birth anniversary of the great showman Raj Kapoor.
पिछले हफ्ते जो हमारी व्हाट्सएप फैमिली ग्रुप है, हमें एक हफ्ते से सिर्फ ये डिसाइड करें कि हम कैसे आपको कहेंगे प्राइम मिनिस्टर जी, प्रधानमंत्री जी। रीमा बुआ मेरे को रोज़ फ़ोन करके पूछ रही है क्या मैं ये बोल सकती हूँ, क्या मैं ये वो बोल सकती हूँ।
मैं भी आपका परिवार का हूँ भाई।
आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी।
कट। आजकल हमारे यहाँ डिप्लोमेटिक वर्ल्ड में सॉफ्ट पावर इसकी बहुत चर्चा होती है। जिस जमाने में सॉफ्ट पावर शब्द का जन्म नहीं हुआ होगा, राज कपूर साहब ने दुनिया में भारत के सॉफ्ट पावर की ताकत को एस्टैब्लिश कर दिया था। एक बहुत बड़ी भारत को उनकी सेवा थी।
हाल ही में आप आई थिंक अफ्रीका गए थे और वहाँ भी मैंने एक क्लिप देखा था, आप एक जवान के साथ खड़े थे और वो उस टाइम मेरा गाना गा रहे थे समझा आप। पर मैंने वो क्लिप देखा था और काफ़ी लोगों ने मुझे भेजा था, सब लोग बहुत खुश हो गए। और उसी के साथ एक क्वेश्चन था आपके लिए, क्या आप गाने सुन पाते?
मैं सुन पाता हूँ क्योंकि मुझे अच्छा लगता है। कभी मौका मिल जाए तो मैं जरूर सुन लेता हूँ।
Thank you for opening your door.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
Distribution as far as the state of Maharashtra is concerned, and for which a very crucial meeting coming up here in the national capital at Amit Shah's residence, where Devendra Fadnavis and Ajit Pawar will be there. However, Eknath Shinde, the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, has decided to stay back in Mumbai.
Download any single ID partner app, link your card and earn reward with Top Rank.
Get it free with single ID.
New day, new show, a new experience. Start your day with the news, not views. We bring you stories that matter and impact your lives. News that informs and keeps you ahead.
From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of governance, Delhi, NDTV brings to you the best breakfast show. The breakfast show only on NDTV 24/7 every morning at 8 a.m.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number one in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future.
A parliament washout likely over Soros and no trust motion during the winter session of the parliament. What can we expect? That and a whole lot more. Let's find out. As far as portfolio distribution in the state of Maharashtra is concerned, a very crucial meeting is coming up at Amit Shah's residence here in the national capital, for which Devendra Fadnavis and Ajit Pawar are here. However, Eknath Shinde has decided to skip that very crucial meeting. What kind of message is that putting out is the big question. The Supreme Court has outlined 8-point formula when it comes to divorce and alimony cases. The Supreme Court has said the focus has to be on the social and economic status of both the husband and the wife, keeping in mind the qualification and the employment of both parties involved in order not to misuse this law.
The family of the Bengaluru techie who died by suicide has filed an FIR against 4 people. The brother of the deceased has gone on to say that his brother was harassed and tortured. In the Rajasthan Borewell tragedy, a 5-year-old boy who fell in the Borewell has died. The minor was trapped for over 3 days. And the Supreme Court is all set to hear a crucial batch of petitions challenging the Places of Worship Special Provisions Act. And in Bangladesh, the court has gone ahead and rejected the Hindu priest's bail plea. A very good morning. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Divya Vava. We have a whole lot lined up for you, including what's going to be happening in Parliament today during the winter session. Well, pandemonium is expected yet again, with the BJP and the opposition there locking horns all over again, and this time around over Soros as well as Rajya Sabha. We're talking about that no confidence motion. The Rajya Sabha chairman Jagdeep Dhankar will be facing that no confidence motion. So 3 bills, however, these are 3 bills who are pending as far as their consideration and their passing is concerned. Let's just go across to Vasudha, who's joining us from right outside the Parliament. Vasudha, what can we expect on day 14 of the winter session, given the fact that we have barely any days left, as the winter session will conclude on the 20th of this month?
Absolutely. Good morning, Divya. Good morning to all our viewers. And 8 days to go for the Parliament, for the winter session of the Parliament to conclude. And just 1 day left for the very important highlight of the session, Constitution debate to begin in the Lok Sabha. This is going to happen tomorrow. But let's also talk about what happened yesterday, because that is going to have implications on what really happened today. Yesterday, there was complete uproar, chaos in the upper house of the Parliament. We also saw the India bloc allies come together, have a press conference saying that they have submitted a resolution of no confidence against the Vice President and Chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, Jagdeep Dhankar. Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress President, said that he behaves like a schoolmaster. He only likes schooling even veteran MPs, which is why they've moved this motion against him, because he has not really allegedly given them space or, for that matter, time to raise their issues. But of course, the BJP has come out in strong defense of Mr. Dhankar. In fact, Sambit Patra, who is a BJP MP, and also Kiran Rijiju, Parliamentary Affairs Minister, have called him a knowledgeable person, a farmer's son who has risen from humble beginnings and has made it to the second most important position in the country. So clearly that sparring is going to take place even today. But other than that, we also saw Rahul Gandhi, the leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, meet with the speaker yesterday. The Congress has put forth a request that it wants the debate in the House to continue. They in fact gave roses to BJP MPs as well, asking for the House to be run. But remember that the Congress has been asking for a debate on a variety of issues, including the Adani matter, for that matter, even they want a discussion on the Manipur violence, on farmers' protests, while the BJP has completely doubled down on its allegations against the Congress party when it comes to the George Soros pattern. In fact, even accusing Sonia Gandhi of being involved in this. So clearly that flashpoint is here to stay. But other than that, there was significant business that was done in the Lok Sabha, which is of good news to the people of the country. We saw the Railways Amendment Bill being cleared by the Lok Sabha yesterday. But and also there was a discussion on the Disaster Management Bill. In fact, the opposition members said that this was an attempt to centralize the way disaster preparedness works around the country. But in that debate, we did see this sparring that occurred between Jyotiraditya Scindia, who's a telecom minister, and Kalyan Banerjee, TMC MP. Of course, Kalyan Banerjee's derogatory remarks have now been expunged from the books of the Parliament. But that was something that also led to BJP, NDA MPs, female MPs, to meet with the speaker and say that this is not a behavior that's appropriate in a house, because it's also anti-women. So today is a day where we can expect not just chaos, but also a little bit of legislative agenda, and we'll have to wait and see how many of the bills actually get passed. Let me get in my colleague Aishwarya Jain, who tracks the Parliament very closely for us. Aishwarya, yesterday we also saw a lot of regional parties showing a sense of desperation, frustration, that everything that's happening is BJP versus Congress. Our voices are not being heard. Today, what can we expect?
Well, good morning, Vasudha. It is a confrontation that is expected today as well between the opposition and the Treasury benches. Of course, yesterday it was Trinamool Congress who, for the very first time, came out and stated that it is the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Congress who has their own issues, and because of these two national political parties, the lower house of the parliament and the upper house of the parliament is unable to function. There are disruptions and adjournments that we are witnessing day by day, and it is the regional parties who are the real sufferer because they are unable to raise the people's issue. They want to get the funds from the center. They want to raise issues centric to their states, but it is these political parties with their own agenda, blaming their own ally Congress party, who is the part of the India bloc, and Trinamool Congress for the very first time openly attacking it. Of course, Samajwadi Party and other regional parties have time and again distanced themselves from the Congress party, and yesterday they came out openly and attacked the Congress as well. Today at 10:15 a.m. Congress MPs will be meeting at the CPP office, and they will be again strategizing as to what needs to be done. Yesterday, leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi met the Lok Sabha speaker and urged House to be function. They want some important bills to be present, but it is Bharatiya Janata Party who had been demanding answers from the Congress party over the alleged links between Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi and the Soros Foundation. On the other side, yesterday Raj Sabha was unable to function. It was early in the morning when the convened, there was ruckus that we have seen, there was uproar, and later in Lok Sabha as well, when there was some legislative bills. In fact, Railway Amendment Bill 2024 got passed yesterday. It is also today important legislative bills, including Disaster Management Bill, the representation of scheduled tribes for the Goa Assembly, that is to be tabled in the Lok Sabha, and in Rajya Sabha, of course, the Banking Amendment Bill 2024 needs to be tabled. But all of these are getting hampered. A very little work had been done so far, but yesterday, after the huge uproar in the Lok Sabha in the later half of the day, when Kalyan Banerjee attacked Jyotiraditya Scindia and used derogatory terms, it is the Bharatiya Janata Party female MPs now who is going to stage protest against the Trinamool Congress MP and for using such derogatory remarks. Of course, the remarks that were made by Kalyan Banerjee against Jyotiraditya Scindia were expunged by the secretariat by the evening, but the protest will continue because such words had been used, and soon after that we saw again Lok Sabha getting adjourned. So whether this will continue today as well is something that remains to be seen. But of course, all the political parties, when asked about whether the shadow of these adjournments and this ruckus will fall on the important constitution debate as well, they clearly had stated that they want the discussion, but if this manner, in this behavior, the things will go, then definitely it can impact the all-important constitution debate in Lok Sabha and in Rajya Sabha as well.
That's a very important point, Aishwarya. We'll have to wait and see the implications of what has been happening in the past few days. What kind of consequences do they have for today? Because that is going to really impact the very important constitution debate that we are going to witness tomorrow and day after tomorrow. And after that, remember, it's the Prime Minister himself who will be responding to this debate in the lower house of the Parliament on Saturday. Meanwhile, let's also listen in to what ex-MP Mahesh Jethmalani said with regard to the George Soros matter and also the pandemonium that the Parliament has been witnessing. He spoke to my colleague Maria Shakil yesterday. Let's listen in to that conversation.
You have put out a tweet which raises several questions on what has been an ongoing controversy of what the BJP says, that there is an alleged link between George Soros Foundation and Sonia Gandhi run Forum of Democratic Leaders Asia Pacific. The question is that this organization was formed in 1994. Your government, the first came to power in 2014. So it's been 11 years. What has the government of the day done to ensure that all those organizations which have anti-India agenda do not succeed or do not continue to function here in India?
Well, I don't know if this particular organization, I'll call it Forum for short because it'll take too much time. The Forum, I don't know whether that had any activities in India, right? But it's come to notice now And as soon as it's come to notice, it's been taken up in Parliament by the party in power. And I'm sure it will be followed up. I hope they read my tweet and take the necessary action, because it's the most serious issue. I don't know whether the government was aware of this particular organization and Sonia Gandhi's before, or I'm sure it would have come out a long time back in the public domain at the instance of the government or the party.
So in your tweet, you say that the promotion of secessionism is a grave offence under the UAPA, and the NIA must swing into action and lodge an FIR. Again, that's a huge point that is being made by you. Do you think all this cannot remain in the realm of insinuation without any evidence, and that all that is being spoken now, it is on the floor of the House? You had the Parliamentary Affairs Minister speaking about it on the floor of the House. You had Leader of the House, Mr. JP Nadda, speaking about it on the floor of the House. Do you think now the time has come for a proper investigation into these alleged links?
Yes, of course, because this is not just speculation. If you go on the website, you will find that there's a whole chapter on Kashmir, and one of the leading things is the way to solve the problem in South Asia is to secure independence for Jammu and Kashmir. That's the agenda. That's what they're promoting. And Sonia Gandhi is the co-founder of this. It's happening under her very nose. I mean, at least she should come out and say that, I didn't actually read this objectives and platforms and aims and objectives of this organization. But no, we are getting a very conspicuous silence.
Okay, so your question...
And she's been co-president of this for quite some time.
Yes. So you're questioning the silence of the Congress party? Do you think they should make their stand clear? They are saying that this is some kind of fake narrative
why the silence?
Why
just the Congress party? Why just the Congress party? Why not Madam Sonia Gandhi herself? She should make it clear. Her association is established. She's not denying it. I mean, Priyanka Gandhi speaks on her part and dismisses it and saying it's ridiculous. But her name is on the website. The website, these are all undeniable facts. Sonia Gandhi's name is there as co-president. George Soros Foundation has heavily funded this foundation. In fact, it's probably the major patron, right? And thirdly, they have a independent Kashmir agenda. These are all there. Which aspect of them which aspect requires investigation? An FIR should be lodged immediately.
So politics of confrontation playing out there in the parliament. We'll have to see if any convergence happens on that front. Joining me now is Amitabh Tiwari, who's a political analyst and author. We also have Sajjan Kumar, author and also political analyst. Thank you both of you for joining me on this broadcast today morning. Good morning to you. To you, Amitabh Tiwari, first. What we are witnessing is a sense of trust deficit between the opposition and treasury benches. We saw the India Bloc allies come out yesterday, address a press conference saying that they are united in their opposition to the Vice President, the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, because he doesn't give them the time or the space to make their points. And we've also seen the Congress, BJP raising the issue of Sonia Gandhi very aggressively. Tell us about these two things, in the sense, does these two episodes, does this mark an end of any sense of dialogue, possibility of dialogue that we were hoping for between the opposition and treasury benches? Because the Congress party is saying that the minute you take Sonia Gandhi's name, we are going to get very upset, and there's this whole no confidence motion that has also been submitted. That also gives away a message of things really breaking down very quickly.
Yeah, so things have reached a situation where any compromise seems to be unlikely, because both of the treasury benches and the opposition have taken a very hard stance, one on Adani and the other on the Soros issue. So what is happening is that the real issues are not being discussed. The parliament of these 13 days, almost I think 10 days or more than 10 days were a washout, which means easily just for Lok Sabha, it's around 15 crore rupees of taxpayers' money which has been wasted. So it seems unlikely that any compromise can be reached, because the opposition has also upped the ante and placed a no confidence motion against the Rajya Sabha Speaker. I think all of this is building up to the debate, which is likely to happen tomorrow, day after, and on 16th and 17th on the constitution. So both the sides are gearing up for that. Hopefully, there will be some debate because of this pre-planned or schedule which has already been announced, and we all hope that there will be some sane debate on the constitution, because both sides, again, because the opposition has also been raising that the treasury benches, most of their policies etc are anti-constitution, and it played a big role in the Lok Sabha elections in 2024. So let's wait out for the 13th, 14th, 16th, 17th. Today it seems that, like all other days, we could have a washout, because even the treasury benches are not seemingly making any effort that there should be any honest debate, and the opposition anyways is hell-bent on disturbing the proceedings.
That's right. Sajjan Kumar, when I was looking at the debate on the railway amendment bill yesterday in the Lok Sabha and also on the disaster management bill, the central line of opposition seems to be that both these bills are heavily driven towards centralization, giving a lot more power and autonomy to central bodies against the spirit of federalism. There seems to be a certain template to the opposition's opposition also to these bills. Do you think that the opposition members, the MPs, are also probably not in a position to look at the issue of governance very closely here, because there's so much uncertainty over functioning of the parliament? Nobody really knows if the bill is expected to come up or not, and hence there's also very little time that's being spent on putting your mind towards the right kind of criticism.
Yeah, precisely. Being a deliberative chamber, their first job should have been to deliberate, look into the specificity of the bill and come up with your own position. But that is not happening. What is happening is a chaos, and this chaos has a pattern. The pattern is that you find the opposition and the treasury benches completely in an incommensurable position. So therefore, reaching a meeting point seems quite difficult at this point of view. And the prime reason why you find incommensurability, that there cannot be a mid-path, because you see, primarily there can be an equivalence that both treasury and the opposition benches are to be blamed, but we have to see that it started with the opposition and primarily by the Congress party. Now, at this moment, opposition unity is both tactical and situational. It depends upon what issues you have in hand, and that determines the unity. But it started within opposition camp, Congress party clearly laying down an agenda wherein any sort of compromise and a consensus that seemed quite unachievable. And that is why the kind of a chaos that we are witnessing, it needs some sort of a chemistry from the opposition leader, wherein the treasury benches could reach out to them and have some sort of backdoor understanding. In the past also, whenever the disruptions used to take place, the disruptions also were accompanied by some backdoor understanding, and then legislative businesses used to continue. What is happening now, that there is no leader in the top brass of Congress whom you can reach out to and have some sort of understanding. I think therein comes the point that opposition unity was shattering, because there were many constituent of India bloc who wanted to deliberate, who wanted to engage on certain bills. But for that, Congress was completely determined not to have any sort of a consensus. And to avoid that, now you see they are bringing no confidence motion, etc., because that gives them a semblance of unity. So the crisis at this moment certainly is, while both sides are into polemics, rhetorics, and making it completely a kind of a polarized scenario wherein meeting point is difficult, but the crisis happened to be every time the treasury benches need certain leader of the opposition party, the prime opposition party, with whom they can have some sort of understanding. Unfortunately, and there is no ambiguity about that, at this moment, the prime opposition party, Congress, led by Rahul Gandhi, is in no mood, to have that sort of a consensus. And that is why you see, we do not expect, and as Amitabh ji said, certainly we do expect a whitewash even on the day of Constitution. When the Constitution will be debated 13th and 14th, do expect we are going to witness similar sort of a polemical mudslinging, because the issues will be hijacked to score brownie points rather than indulge in serious deliberation. And that is why one has to ponder that is there a sort of inclination into the top leadership of the Congress, who is willing to find some sort of a balance between the disruption which has been there in the past also, but side by side also have the understanding and space for the legislative businesses. So whatever legislative business has happened, that is just the footnote. The text is about the disruption, and therefore this is the time wherein the non-Congress leadership, non-Congress parties also need to ponder upon that to what extent hijacking the parliament around n number of issues can continue. Can it be at the cost of the mandate that they have got to deliberate? And for that, I think if one has to be blamed, while there can be equivalence for all the parties, all the sides, but one party that is summarily to be blamed for initiating such a situation since Lok Sabha, since June 2024, and that seems to be the top leadership of the Congress, which is completely going into a berserk way without, learning to step back. Yeah.
Okay, Amitabh Tiwari yesterday was at the opposition's press conference, and some of the accusations, some of the claims that they made about the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, saying that he schools us, he does not have any respect or regard for even veteran MPs who have actually done a lot of social public work, and the fact that it has been a tradition in the Rajya Sabha to at least let the opposition leader speak whenever he wants to make a small point. That is not really, adhered to, in the sense every time Mr. Khadge is asked to speak, there's a senior minister who stands and speaks. These were allegations that they made. They also said that the Sunset TV does not even show the opposition's point of view. We don't know how much of that is true. But tell us, is there something that the government or the treasury benches or the speaker or the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha could have also done to at least ensure that things don't reach a point of no return?
See, essentially over the last 10 years, since politics has polarized a lot, and what happens is that when you have a very active politician becoming the vice president and getting anointed on the chair of the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, what happens is that it becomes very, very difficult in this highly polarized environment to be neutral. Even if one is neutral, the opposition benches, because of the politics involved in the discussions in the upper house, tend to feel that they are not being given adequate time. See, no confidence motion is in the constitution, is one of the tools which has been given to the opposition, that they can use this tool to make their point if their demands are not being adhered to. They may not have the numbers, but they have brought a no confidence motion. Now, this does put question mark on the neutrality of the vice president, whether he is being neutral, and as you said, whether he should have taken extraordinary steps to keep the opposition in good humor, because he is chairman of the Rajya Sabha and not of a particular party. So this also raises doubts. It might be a political tool, but on the face of it, it raises doubts whether the person has been partial or not. So this is something. And it is not only the chairman of the Rajya Sabha post, it is also the vice president of the country, correct? So this does not in a way portend a good picture. However, this is due to a lack of deficit and complete breakdown of discussions between the treasury and the opposition benches. I think this could have been sorted out by both the parties had they not taken or adopted such a tough stance on the issues.
Right. Thank you, Amitabh Tiwari. Thank you, Sajjan Kumar, for joining us. We've seen politics of confrontation play out in the parliament. Today, we'll have to see if there's any outreach from the treasury benches towards the opposition, and if the opposition actually agrees to a dialogue, to constructive session of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. We did see some business happening in the Lok Sabha yesterday with the railway amendment bill being cleared. We also saw a discussion on the disaster management bill, but of course, that also led to this sparring between Kalyan Banerjee, TMC MP, and Jyotiraditta Jyotiraditya Scindia, Telecom Minister, which also is going to have some implications with female MPs raising this very strongly, saying that male MPs in the House cannot speak derogatory or in a derogative fashion about women. That is something that they've raised very strongly with the Speaker. Other than that, of course, there is Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, who's also going to be in the Parliament today. And of course, the fact that tomorrow is going to be that special day, that special highlight of the session where the Constitution debate is going to begin. The Prime Minister himself is going to respond to this on Saturday. And this was a demand by the Congress primarily. So this also would serve in some ways as a fig leaf to the opposition, that the Treasury benches, the government is agreeable to listening to some of their demands. We'll have to wait and see if that really has an impact on them, and if any of the legislative agenda that has been listed today gets taken up in both houses. Also an important day today because the Supreme Court is all set to hear a batch of petitions challenging the Places of Worship 1991 Act. Joining us now is senior lawyer Vikas Singh. Thank you so much, Mr. Singh, for speaking to NDTV, for giving us your time. My first question to you, something that is there on everybody's mind. We know that the Places of Worship 1991 Act in some ways freezes the status of the worship places to what they were during India's independence. On the day of India's independence, 15th August 1947, there are also exemptions to the Act. The apex court, the top court hearing this matter, what are the implications going to be for society, socially, politically? How do you see this? Okay, so we'll try connecting with Vikas Singh in just a bit. In a few minutes from now, both houses of the Parliament will be convening. We'll have to wait and see how much of conflict, how much of convergence really plays out, and if any legislative agenda gets taken up, and if there are protests, and how the Treasury benches also agitate to that, and also how much the BJP also doubles down on its charges against the Congress when it comes to the George Soros matter. We'll be back in a bit.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
We are able to maintain the democratic fabric and the democratic system.
I want to do something that can make a difference.
लगातार जनता की आवाज को सरकार तक पहुंचाने का काम मैं करता हूं.
I was a student up until very recently. I really want to work and do something for my people because they have given me this opportunity. They have elected me.
सोचा नहीं था कि राज्यसभा सांसद बनूंगी.
हमारा संविधान भारत की महान परंपरा, अखंड धारा, उस धारा की आधुनिक अभिव्यक्ति है.
Finally, the opposition and government to square off over the constitution in parliament.
पूरे देश में एक ही संविधान चलेगा.
वो कहते हैं कि लाल रंग का संविधान राहुल गांधी दिखाता है.
Parliament all set for a fiery constitution debate.
बाबा साहब आम्बेडकर का संविधान भारत का संविधान.
इसके अंदर जो लिखा है उसकी हम रक्षा करते हैं, उसके लिए हम जान देने को तैयार हैं.
Constitution in crisis or scare for vote bank? What will prevail? Watch NDTV special coverage.
New day, new show, a new experience. Start your day with the news, not views. We bring you stories that matter and impact your life. Welcome back. Let's get you the latest coming out from Hari Salve, a senior advocate who has gone on to talk about the Supreme Court. And this is in regard to the Supreme Court and the place that it has as far as India is concerned. He's gone on to say that there's no other place in the world where the Supreme Court is considered the way it is here in India. Let's listen in to what Hari Salve had to say.
Former Solicitor General of India, India's topmost constitutional lawyer, and perhaps the most authoritative voice on Constitution, Harish Salve is joining us now. It is often said that nobody understands Constitution and constitutional interpretations better than Mr. Salve. Sir, thank you so much for your time. As a seasoned constitutional lawyer, how do you think the Supreme Court has balanced the need for constitutional stability with the imperative of adapting to changing social and political contexts?
If you look at the history of our Supreme Court, and in fact, I'm not the first one to say this, I'm only echoing the words of greater minds of the past. The Supreme Court has been remarkable. If you go back to the 1950s, where India was moving towards economic reform, where we got rid of zamindaris and the feudal structure, the feudal system which was in place by land reform laws, by laws which freed people from serfdom. The Supreme Court was extremely supportive. They construed their right to property in a dynamic way, consistent with a vision for a modern democratic republic. And that has by and large been the history of our Supreme Court. It is not to say the court has not made mistakes, but the strength of a court is not that it never errs. The strength of a court is in correcting its mistakes. And our Supreme Court has shown that it has the ability to correct mistakes, even if at times it has the ability to make more mistakes. So, but that's the strength of every institution. And I think the overall report card is excellent. There are some major problems which are bedeviling our system. And let us not trivialize those problems. We have got past our problems and we'll get past them again.
Breaking news coming in. This is in regard to the Aam Aadmi Party versus the BJP over fake voters. This is a day after the Aam Aadmi Party delegation met with the Election Commission, and they're here now. The Delhi BJP in Delhi, as far as the Delhi BJP leaders are concerned, they will be meeting with the CEC. This meeting is going to be coming about after the Aam Aadmi Party chief met with the poll body chief. So a very crucial meeting that's coming up. We have Ishika joining us to get us more on this. It is the BJP now that will be meeting with the CEC 24 hours after the Aam Aadmi Party has gone ahead and met with the Election Commission. Ishika.
Well, yes, in fact, as you very rightly pointed out, after the Aam Aadmi Party delegation led by Aryan met the Chief Election Commissioner yesterday over their complaint that, voters' name were being deleted from the voters list. It is today the Delhi BJP delegation under the leadership of the Delhi BJP President Viren Sachdeva will today be meeting the Chief Election Commissioner. Now, in fact, remember that in response to Arvind Kejriwal's allegation of